SFSS Council Election Debate for 2025. It is an honor for us to host this event and to provide you with an opportunity for students of Santa Cruz University to get to know the candidates who are passionate about making a difference in their lives and the lives of future students. As we commence this debate, I would like to acknowledge that we are on the unceded territories of the Coast Salish people. Please pardon my pronunciation, including Tsleil-Waututh, Coquitlam, Squamish, and Musqueam nations, on which Simon Fraser University stands. The candidates who are participating in this debate have put in a remarkable effort over the past few weeks, and it is truly inspiring to see such passion and drive from individuals who want to bring positive change to their peers. And I would like to extend my heartfelt appreciation to each and every one of you for taking part in this event. The format of the debate will go as follows. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to make an opening statement in their respective fields. We will follow that up with a question period. I'll open the floor up to you guys first. If there's no questions from the audience, I'll ask some questions of my own. And then they will have 3 minutes to answer your questions and closing statements at the end. I am Dania, and I have the privilege of serving as the Chief Commissioner of the Independent Electoral Committee and as the moderator of today's debate. It is my pleasure to introduce the rest of my team, Vedant, Venetia, Moksha, and Stacey. They ran this entire debate from start to finish, so thank you. You also will have a chance to win one of 4 gift cards, so please make sure you have raffle tickets. If you don't have raffle tickets, then ask a member of my team and we'll make sure to give you one. And please feel free to approach us anytime during the break to ask us any questions. Just make sure I have everything set here. And that's all. I'll just remind you that voting period starts on Thursday, on the 27th, so make sure you check your inbox so you can see who you like after this debate. Okay, so we'll start us off with the first section, which is VP Finance. And give me 1 second, I'll get my list to introduce our candidate. Hey, Renee, are you still here? You have a midterm and he's still showing up today for a round of applause. He's the only candidate that's here in person. The dedication is insane. Lisa, Rambas, you can come up as well. He also has mentioned my names. And yeah, so we do have 2 candidates, and we will start off with Renee's opening statement. And you'll have 2 minutes.
Good evening, guys. Good evening, guys. Thank you so much for joining. My name is Pranay. Most of you will know me as a data science counselor at SFSS. And my friends over here know me as the guy who always keeps falling off his longboard and calling campus security. So in my term in the council, I've worked closely with all the student unions and my student union to be very specific. And I have noticed some of the places that I can put in some effort and make it better for other clubs and student unions. So that is why I'm running for the VP Finance position. First off, before starting off with my campaign, I'd like to acknowledge the last year exec team's efforts towards making this student society a better one. So a big round of applause for all of them. Okay, now making it very quick about my campaign. The first thing that I want to really work on is making a golden rule for the budget approvals of grants and different various budgets. This will be based on past grants and how big an event is going to be, so that we are not overspending. And the next thing that we should really do, and this is something that I'm going to promise, we should totally make an app for the student society. we are in the 21st century. We have so much talent here in SFU. I think so. If any university can do it, it's going to be our university. And I think so. There are like so many CS majors, so many people who really want to volunteer towards this cause. And I think so. This is going to be one of my proudest.
No, you can finish your sentence.
Yeah, this is going to be one of my promises that I'm going to do in my first 4 months as soon as I get into the exec team. So yeah, that will be it. I think so. Yeah.
Thank you, Pranay. Okay, thank you. Can we put it back up?
Test. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Philip, and I am so excited to be running for VP Finance and Services for 2025. I am a student at the B School of Business, concentrating in accounting and finance, which means I spend way too much time looking at spreadsheets and getting emotional over financial statements. I'm involved all over SFU, including SFU Search, the Accounting Student Association, Team Phantom, and Uphoto. Now let's talk money. Because I've gone through the SFSS financial statements inside and out, let me tell you, we need a financial goal. I want to talk about sustainability, addressing the budget deficit. Right now, the SFSS relies way too much on student fees. It's like trying to balance your budget on one sad, overpriced iced coffee. I want to diversify revenue streams so that SFSS isn't taking money from students. I want to find smarter ways to save on operations and events. And I want to invest for the long term, because thinking ahead shouldn't just be for final exams. I want to think about transparency and accountability through enhanced documentation. The SFSS spends millions every year. Ever wonder where that money actually goes? I'll make sure we have public, itemized reports that are available so everyone knows where money is being spent. No more guessing games.
10 seconds.
I want to ensure SFSS use funds efficiently, because wasting money is only fun when it's monopoly. Thank you.
Okay, so now I'll open it up to the audience for any questions. You can line up behind this handsome man here.
Hello. Okay. My name is Kareem. I ran for VP Finance last year. My question is for both candidates. If the SFSS were to face a financial shortfall, right, a major one, what would be your emergency financial plan? And what accountability measures will you hold to make sure or prevent mismanagement within the SFSS?
Well, currently I want to focus on, currently the SFU is facing budget cuts, especially the SFSS. I really want to focus on keeping employees within the SFSS employed. I mean, while a lot of people rely on that income to fund their schooling and the residents and such. So I think I want to focus on that the most. So when it comes to talking about transparency, like I mentioned earlier, I really want an itemized report to show line for line what we're spending money on. Obviously, we're not going to put like, oh, we bought juice, but I want to make sure that everyone knows what is being spent, like in large amounts.
Thank you for that.
Thank you so much for the question, Kareem. I think so. First off, the issue with this is going to be we aren't really transparent. We are transparent like we do release our meeting minutes and stuff, but do people actually read into that? I would say if the transparency increases in itself, the chance of this happening will like reduce by itself, and this is how we can avoid it. I still don't know how will I work on something if there's an emergency situation, but I can assure you that I'll have a good team to work with and I'll not give up.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So I just had a question for Philippe, because you mentioned that you wanted to diversify how the SFSS acquires money, not just like from the students. So I just wanted to ask like how that will work, and like if you have any specific goals in mind, like how we would bring in additional streams of income.
Thank you for that question, actually. So my main goal is to create endowment so we can invest our money, our leftover funds, and create more long-term investments. So I really want to focus on getting money externally because especially through like stocks, bonds, NASDAQ is pretty stable right now. I really want to focus on that. Because I think it's pretty stable and it gives us a lot of money. So endowment and investment.
And thank you so much. I'm just wondering if like the SFSS is like in a deficit at the moment, like how investing in the stock market would work in that scenario. Or correct me if I'm wrong, like I'm not too sure about that.
Yeah, as a lot of students may know, the SFSS does currently budget $1 million, $1 million deficit, but it only reaches about like 500,000 of it. It's really important right now because I know the current team is working very hard to reduce expenses and try to balance that budget a bit. But I'm hoping that by the time I get there, I'm able to balance the budget enough to a certain point where we do have enough money to, it doesn't have to be a lot to invest further.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
No, I have a question about the investments. You were mentioning that when you if you're going to come into office, you want to balance the SFSS budget in terms of the deficit. Do you have any idea where you're going to propose those cuts? As well, you also mentioned to decrease SFSS's reliance on student fees. Does that come with proposing a decrease?
I want to first address student fees. So student fees right now do make up 85% of where the SSS gets its money from. So it would be very difficult financially for us to reduce student fees, but I really do want to find a way to make it so we don't have to increase it in the future. Like right now, the government is currently proposing an increase just to bridge that insane gap we currently have. Sorry, can you tell me the first part of your question again?
Oh, yes, you mentioned you wanted to find a way to balance the budget. Where are you going to find cuts?
Oh, yeah, sure. So, I really want to make, for example, events more efficient. So, I know from looking at the financial statement, there are a lot of expenses that go into events, and there are certainly ways to reduce it by just partnering more with corporations.
This will be the last question we'll be taking for the VP Finance and Services, and then you guys will have a minute for your closing statements. Thank you.
Hi there to both candidates. Touching again on this actually a question for both of you, touching again on efficiency. I see that both of you have a lot of plans for investment and for long-term sustainability. However, what would be a short-term way to increase efficiency of our financial usage and expenses here at SFU? I can go ahead and answer that question. As I said before, the more transparent we are, it increases the accountability on the execs and the whole council. I think so that in itself will help the exec team if they are being monitored on a real-time basis. So that's why one of my proposals was the app. And when it comes to short-term goals, one of them is also going to be a golden rule so that we have at least one benchmark to look up to for every budget approval and every grant approval.
Thank you for that question. Very similar to what Renee is saying. With the transparency, it really highlights where our money is being spent. So in that same vein, we want to really review what we're spending money on. I know, especially with what I mentioned efficiently, working with other companies to reduce our costs. I want to ensure like efficiency through transparency by making sure we're not spending money on something that's redundant, so we're not doubling our efforts, right?
Thank you.
Thank you, Renee, thank you, Philip, and good luck with your midterms.
Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah, you're so right. Sorry, you guys have a minute for closing statements. Thank you. Philip, would you like to start first?
Sure, yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, so SFU is my home, and while it certainly does look like a prison, the community here is amazing. Like all the people I've met today, all the people I know now, all my friends. And I just want to make sure our finances support us and not stress us out. So vote for me.
I would like to bring up some points that I forgot to in the 2 minute speech. I would say that for events, I aim to also release sponsorship guides just for student unions and clubs so that every team member has less pain, in asking for grants and asking for even more grants. So this is how I aim to help the clubs and student societies. And yeah, that is pretty much it. And let's focus on transparency this elections. Vote for the right candidate, date, and do the poll.
You guys are gonna have to bear with me, yeah? Okay, so our next committee will be the VP Internal and Organization Development. There is 5 candidates with 1 recording, 1 could not make it today. So I would like to welcome Viraj Chowdhury to the front, Jeffrey Collinson, John Yates, Thomas, N.A. Booth, Ash Powers, and then we'll have a video from Jorawar Singh later on today. Okay, and I'll start with Viraj's opening statement. You'll have 2 minutes. I'll just give you a gentle whisper of 10 seconds left and try to wrap up your last sentence better. And you can start now.
Hello everyone, I'm Raj Chaudhary and I'm running for the next VP Internal. And I'm here because I believe that strong, transparent and efficient governance isn't just about policies and procedures. It's about making the student voices heard, ensuring accountability and creating a real impact. As VP Internal, my focus will be on strengthening governance, improving communication and ensuring that is a successful figure. I will push for a comprehensive policy review to eliminate outdated and inefficient processes, enhance transparency in decision making, and make sure every student can access clear and concise information about what's happening at their SFSS. Thank you.
I'll take Jeffrey Collinson's opening statement next.
Hi, I'm Jeffrey. I'm one of the candidates for being internal, as you know. I'm currently sitting on council and I sit on the governance committee. And through that, I found like a real knack for writing policy, and it's one of the favorite things I do at SSS. So love teaching people about the policy we have and digging through those documents when someone asks me for some beat. The few things I wanted to do is really focus on the core role of the VP internal in the society. Because I feel like the current VP internals really don't focus on the internal governance review. So I'm gonna write policy, make sure that all the required documents are submitted, like our bylaws aren't submitted yet. AGMs. I want to better communicate the workings of SFSS with all of you. And I want to lower the deficit by making sure that stipends are reduced per our policies. I hope also hold office hours, if possible. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Jeffrey. And then I'll take John Gates's opening statements next. You have 2 minutes. It's all the way up on.
This is good. Hi, my name is John Gates, and I'm running for VP Internal and Organizational Development. As you can see here, I'm a very quick learner. But I also I'm running because I believe that the skills I've acquired at SFU and outside SFU gives me the best abilities possible to serve in this role. I am currently the public policy student counselor, and like Jeffrey, I'm a big fan of policy, and I hope to implement it. But also, my biggest ambition in this role would be to increase the opportunity given to students for career-wise. Like I want larger career fairs, and I want more representation in the council. I want to try and make sure that all the faculty unions are all represented, and I also want to that's about it.
You have a really cool name, by the way. And then we'll take the video from Jorwar Singh, because he just kidding. Thomas, you're going to speak first. 100%. You'll have 2 minutes, and we start now. It works already.
Hello, good,
There.
okay. All right,
Go ahead.
hey, hello, I'm sure most of you know my name is Thomas Sweat. I used to be the VP UAA for the 2023-2024 term. Some of you might know me from other places, such like dining hall, or from classes we might have had together, or just being around res. Yeah. So I'm sure we're all going to say here that we're here to, change policy, make it better, improve efficiency, make sure there's more opportunities for students, because I think that's what everyone would want to do for this position, and that's kind of also in the job description, But the main reason why I'm here is because I used to be in council, and one thing that frustrated me when I was in council was that I found that there was a lot of levels of bureaucracy. There was a lot of barriers preventing students from students who were in council, students who were execs from getting things they wanted done. And one of the reasons why is because like a lot of students wouldn't show up. We would have council meetings, people would log in, put their camera off, put their mic off, and they'd be, I don't know, gaming, watching Netflix, doing other stuff in the background, and nobody really cared, The main reason why I'm here is because I want to push for a council that cares to make sure that students are treated the way they should within the SFSS. Please vote for me.
Thank you, Thomas. And next we have Ash Powers. You have 2 minutes, and they start. Is your mic good? No. Perfect. Okay, they start now.
Hi everyone, my name is Ash. This is my second year as a history major here at SFU, and I've been active in student organizing and political life here since I transferred. I'm currently a board member of SFPIRG, which advocates and supports student-led initiatives and organizations. And in my time as an organizer, I've stood with labor unions, neighborhood advocacy groups, and student movements. And if these experiences have taught me anything, it's the power of unity and organization. Today, with rising tuition, cost of living crisis, and general decrease in student services and opportunities on campus, the power of organizing is more relevant than ever. The university is governed by an administration that isn't actually accountable to students. The SFSS, on the other hand, as the representative body of students, has the potential to actually advocate for us and provide for us where the university is failing to do so. That said, we just can't see the SFSS as a representative body that's detached from the tens of thousands of students who actually attend the university. It can and should be a means to organize the student body into a broad movement that's actually able to build leverage in decision-making processes, assert and exercise student power to get more than lukewarm promises and wild goose chases from administrator to administrator. And as VP Internal and Organizational Development, my role in this process would involve making sure that the SFSS meeting procedures facilitate efficient and effective decision-making. I would review ongoing tasks, committees, and procedures to ensure that time, energy, and resources are being used for things that actually serve students and push our goals forward. And my other priorities would be strengthening student services, pushing for us to join the BC Federation of Students, introducing criticism and self-criticism into the SFSS, and taking social investigation into account within the SFSS so that we can come up with concrete solutions to the actual concrete problems. So yeah, I'm excited to work with you all and work together to build a strong SFSS and build student power.
We have also another cool name. Now it's time for the video from Joel Warsing. A round of applause please for Joel Warsing.
My name is Robert. I'm running for the next week from upcoming SFSS. Before I begin, I just want to say I truly wanted to be on this debate. I was so excited to hear your question, share my view, and create and engage in meaningful conversations about issues that actually matter. But unfortunately, I had a midterm schedule and I was I'm probably ready. So wish me luck. Let's jump to why we're actually gathered here. Let me take you back to my initial day here as coming here changed me. I came here with big dreams, but I quickly realized that the cost of education wasn't just a number on the bill. Rather, it was a huge barrier. A barrier that makes me want to question why. Why was getting quality education so expensive? And where was our money going? What were the services that we had? And the more I talked to my friends and my peers here at SFU, I quickly realized that I wasn't the only one. Like me, most of the students here don't even know about the time, services, and the amenities that SFSS provides. Let's take dental plan for example. It's the most well-known plan that SFSS offers. Most
Yes. We'll repeat the video, we're just gonna get the volume up. Thank you.
Can you guys press it and see if it's louder?
Hey, my name is Robert and I'm running to be your next VP criminal at the upcoming. Hey, my name is Robert and I'm running to be your next VP criminal at the upcoming SFSS candidate elections. Before I begin, I just want to say I truly wanted to be at this debate. I was so excited to hear your questions, share my ideas, and create and engage in meaningful conversations about issues that actually matter to us. But unfortunately, I had a midterm schedule, and as you guys are watching this video, I'm probably ready right now. So wish me luck. So let's jump to why we're actually gathered here today. Let me take you back to my initial days here at SFU. Coming here changed me. I came here with big dreams, but I quickly realized that the cost of education wasn't just a number on the bill. Rather, it was a huge barrier. A barrier that made me want to question why. Why was getting quality education so expensive? And where was our money going? What were the services that we had access to? And the more I talked to my friends and my peers here at SFU, I quickly realized that I wasn't the only one. Like me, most of the students here don't even know about the plans, services, and the amenities that SFSS provides. Let's take dental plan, for example. It's the most well-known plan that the SFSS offers, yet most of the students either don't know how to use it or they're still enrolled with their parents' plan, so they never felt the need to use it. And on top of that, people don't even know that they can opt out of this plan and save almost $300. This is what I'm here for. I'm running to ensure transparency. I'm running to ensure that you are always in the loop, to ensure that you know where your student piece is actually going. I might not have years of SFSS experience, but what I do have is determination. Determination to make a real change, and the willingness to learn and fight for better student representation. The point that I'm advocating for are keeping you in the loop, ensuring transparency, faster funding for student groups and clubs, effective communication at SFSS so that it can serve you better, and raising awareness about the student services. I don't want to sit in an office and make decisions in a bubble. You'll always find me near the ping pong tables or around campus, talking to you, learning from you, or working. SFU is our university. It's our university experience. And together, we can make it better. Don't forget to vote on 27th and 28th of February. Let's create a positive change together. Thank you.
Fun fact, Drawer is our only first-year candidate. Any questions from the audience? Come on up, come on up. Yeah, there you go. You can go.
Individual,
Whatever you need.
okay. Hi, this is quite fresh. So, I admire your experience and, you mentioned a lot with community organizing, I find that admirable. My only concern is that you mentioned the BC Federation of Students. Now, there's a bit of history as to why you're not part of the Canadian Federation of Students or the BCMS. It's because once you join it, it's extremely hard to leave or have a say in the membership structure, fees, certain things like that, even collective agreements. So my understanding as a former exec with the SFSS is that we have a long time good standing with the Alliance of BC Students. Now in recent years, I don't think we've been as active in them as we should be. And I'm just wondering, what are your thoughts on, say, I don't know, are you aware of the Alliance of BC Students? And second, what are your thoughts on, say, expanding our, membership capacity and, working with them instead of joining another alliance that we've already been a part of? I think it was like 2008, 2009. There was an actual court case regarding the both memberships in the Canadian Federation of Students and the BC Federation of Students that ended up just ended up causing a lot of controversy. There's a Wikipedia page on this. So yeah, that's just my question. Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm not aware of all of the details, to be honest, of what happened between the SFSS and the BC Federation of Students. But just on principle, right, if we have these issues like the cost of tuition, we have to be having some kind of relationship with the provincial government where we're advocating for more provincial funding to education. And the most effective way to do that is through building the broadest community possible with students from universities and colleges across the province. And so at the end of the day, right, as students, we're all on the same team, and whatever happened in the past, we build unity through struggle. Like conflict actually it is a good thing because it's what leads to transformation. And so I think just actually putting in the effort in order to sit through those conflicts and come to unity is how we build power. And with the BC Alliance of Students, I think that, like I said, having it the broadest alliance possible, right? It's not a question of one or the other. I think that it needs to be all universities and all colleges in BC advocating as one strong force in order to apply the most pressure possible.
Thank you. In the interest of time, I'll have to move on to the next person. Also, in the interest of time, I'm going to cut the question line here. And also, in the interest of time, when you ask your question, please try to be precise and concise and maybe less than 30 seconds. Thank you.
Right, hi. So there's lots of opportunities for students to get involved with the SFSS without having to be elected as a VP. And so I'd like to know explicitly in the last year, what's something you have done to hold the SFSS accountable, especially in a time where students are concerned with money and the SFSS is grossly losing thousands of dollars on low return events like fall kickoff.
Candidates, please keep your answers under 30 seconds each, and we'll start from garage and go down.
Last year, I already participated much in the SFSS, I was doing the first year, and mostly focusing on studies. But this year, I'll definitely look into all the policies which are happening and find the gaps, so that we don't really, start losing money over events.
So, with SFPER, we have a campaign with the SFSS right now, so that's kind of where I've had like the most relationship. And with that campaign, we've been trying to get a fee levy so that there's more funding for student, for the student constituent or independent student societies on campus. And, creating more job opportunities for students, having more educational resources, resources of all kinds, to be honest. So yeah.
It's kind of hard to do stuff as counselors, like as Thomas says, like there are levels of bureaucracy they could go to hold people accountable, especially for like major incidents like the fall kickoff concert. But I've done my best by communicating what's happening in the society to my community members, the GSU, and also building like spreadsheets to keep track of like what our executives might be doing wrong and sharing that with my members as well.
Well, me personally, I've spent the last year like outside of all like student union related stuff, SFSS related stuff, so I haven't really been able to per se do a lot in the community, but that's why I'm running, so provide for students.
Yeah, my capacity as a student counselor, I haven't really served on any committees or anything around offering opportunities like that, but I do support the referendum vote for student life into which of course helps always helps with the helps give student more opportunities and
I have a question for, I guess, Raj and Ashley, just because I got your names right. Okay, great. Yeah, my question is basically, I'm a counselor now, and as Thomas and Jeffrey both mentioned, that before you get into the SFSS seems much more simpler than it actually is. And I see a lot of prospective candidates coming in and throwing blank statements around, right? And my question is to you guys specifically, because I don't believe either of you guys mentioned you had like previous SFSS experience, whereas the other two candidates said they had. So really my question is like, how would you bridge that gap? Or do you believe that you have enough of an understanding of how council works, how the success works, to make the changes you want to make?
That's a good question. Since high school, I've been a part of the student council, and I know it's not the same thing as working with SFSS, but being an international student and looking at price hikes every semester, I feel like if nobody's going to do it, I'll do it myself. I'll push for capping the price hikes and hopefully bridge the gap.
Yeah, so kind of similarly with SFPER, I honestly never heard of it until I became a board member. And I think I was able to learn really quickly how everything works. And we've been able to like do a lot with our board in this past year. And I also have experience like organizing with labor unions and these kinds of things. And so yeah, like, I'm ready to learn. I am a history major. I'm used to like reading through lots of documents. I'm used to talking to people about their experiences and just coming into organizations. And you have to figure out, you kind of have to figure it out as you go, so yeah.
Thank you.
This is a question for all of you.
As someone who's also been part of clubs and organizations, I've seen just how much efficiency and streamlining processes can affect outcomes of products, not just of clubs, but of students. And I would like to know just how much you guys talked about is how do you plan on improving accountability and also reducing bureaucracy within the SFSS?
Is it a question for everyone?
Yeah.
Does anyone want to go first? Yeah, Jeffrey. Yeah, Jeffrey. Well,
Well, as of decreasing bureaucracy and things, I think it's best that we look into it ourselves and not really sure how to tackle this, but yeah, I will definitely look into it.
So one of the things that I kind of mentioned in the opening but couldn't elaborate is the idea of having criticism, self-criticism as part of like SFSS procedures. And that really just means like self-reflection, you know, criticism can be positive, it should be constructive at the end of the day, but it's just a systematized way to evaluate what you're doing and what are the reasons you're doing it. Is it being done for to pursue a specific goal, you know, and making sure that everything is done with intention and purpose. And also with accountability, with social investigation, having people go talk to students about their actual problems, what they actually think about things, and forming like an analysis of what's happening at the university and making sure that we're making decisions and delegating tasks and just structuring everything in a way that's actually like related to people's concrete issues and having more opportunities for people to also participate and feel like they can participate that are not so distant, such as like only being able to read minutes or like in a Zoom meeting where you're kind of paying attention, kind of not, like actually engaging with students and really like understanding what are their needs, what are their thoughts, and what they want.
I'm not sure what a good answer for this is because it really depends on the actual like workings of SFSS. Like, are they actually working to the full operational capacity that they can at the moment? Because like getting more like faster grant requests would take more staff or making staff work harder than they can is like something I was in a day. But I think like reaching out to clubs would be a great idea for ensuring that everyone like feels like the process as a whole is fair and trustable.
Can you repeat the question, please? It's been like a minute.
Sure. Just how you plan on decreasing bureaucracy and improving accountability within the SFSS.
So first, as the internal, like whoever, whichever one of us wins, VP internal is like the de facto chair of the governance committee. And a lot of policy changes within the SFSS, some have to go to the equity committee, some UA or whatever. A lot of them, before they can be brought to council, must first go through governance. And one issue I've had when I was in council is governance committee was pretty like dead for like a large portion of the term. And so one thing that I would do for sure is make sure that within that committee, I think like all the committee members, we all do first check meeting minutes, which allows for me or making informed decisions. On top of that as well, I would join the finance committee myself. Make sure I'm always there and try to get other councilors who I know are devoted to join with me. And also for the executive oversight committee, ensure that there's councilors who actually care and will keep tabs on both the finance, the VP finance, and the rest of the execs to make sure that clubs getting their funding and these things are being overlooked properly.
Yeah. Well, I'm not, when it comes to reducing the bureaucracy, I'm not too sure how I would do that, but I would definitely try and streamline how grants and room bookings and all that. I mean, I'm also the events coordinator for the Public Policy Student Association, so I get it. But yeah, I would definitely though look into that. Yeah. Thank you.
I would just ask you if you could possibly direct your question at one person. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Hi everyone, one for the purchase, but my question is directed to Thomas specifically.
Since you've been the University in Academic Affairs a couple of years ago, I wanted to ask you what are some transferable skills you'll be bringing to this position specifically, and if you want to elaborate on one of your pillars that's going to increase transparency across the board.
You still ask again?
Yeah, I just want to know how you can be ensuring transparency to all stakeholder groups that you're dealing with throughout this position, as you did as the University in Academic Affairs.
Well, to be completely honest, it's pretty hard to ensure transparency in protocol. A lot of things people like we talk about in camera and council, and there's a lot of things that it's like considered confidential information. However, one thing I will be doing is if I do win, I will keep my current election account alive and I will post updates about certain events going on at SFSS, new things going on in council at the SFSS. I will also make sure that for every meeting, like every council meeting that I have documents to submit to, I'll make sure it's submitted to the council in advance and that everyone has a chance to look at it before the meeting. One issue is a lot of people would send it, would just send it we'll just send it inside the Zoom chat at the meeting, and nobody would really look at it. We just kind of take everyone's word for it and be like, oh yeah, this one paper, you know. So I really want to make sure that everyone is making informed decisions, especially with policy changes here at SFSS.
Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Sarah. And you guys are going back to the piece, thank you. Does everyone have a raffle ticket? Does anyone, who does it, put your hand up? Wow, okay, can we give those out? Thank you. Yeah, we'll do the closing statements, I just want to make sure these are out. I wasn't gonna do them now. Okay, we'll start from garage, and each person will have a minute. And I will again give you a gentle reminder when you have 10 seconds left. And you can start now.
Yes, well, I'm here to make the students' voices heard, and I'm here to work for them to the best of my ability. I'm working by the students and for the students, and I hope this can help us. Thank you.
Very excited to work with you. You can come find me at SFPER tomorrow. There's going to be an assembly with students, staff, and faculty for a democratic university. We can have like more discussions. I'll be there. You can come talk to me there to answer more questions. And yeah.
Hello. When voting for Beacon Journal this Thursday and Friday, I hope you remember what the role really is about. It's about focusing on our internal governance structures, and we to ensure that we stay in our lane and really focus on what we're supposed to do as an executive. And when those processes aren't being followed, we can see a real downfall in the rest of the societal processes. So keep that in mind. Email me at jeffrey_Collinson@svu.ca if you want to talk more. Yeah, see you around.
All right, I'm not here to give anyone any false promises. I'm just here to know, please vote for me. Okay. I've done this whole council thing before. I've served an entire year. SFSS meets with executives and councilors who will show up every time, do their 30 hours weekly of work, and make sure that the society is steered in the correct direction. Right. So please vote for me. I'm that person, and yeah, hope you have a good year.
I'm running for SFSS VP Internal and Organizational Development because I believe that the skills I've developed here and outside SFU are the skills necessary to perform this role and to make sure that SFU is an interconnected community. The SFSS has clear communication and that there will be greater opportunity for students. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Before we get to raffle time, can you guys do me a favor and make sure that there's no seats being occupied by plates with food? Gonna make sure all plates of food are in the trash. For recycling, everything's in the right bin. Please. And we're gonna pull the first raffle, there'll be 3 more after this. You'll get to choose between a $25 gift card to Cineplex, a $25 Visa, or a gift card to Tim Hortons. So we'll do the first raffle. Drum roll, please. Okay, the ticket is 8361557. No?
836.
8361557.
158.
Oh, it's on you. Okay. Okay, drum roll, please. Thank you. Okay, 8361567. Yes, sir. It's on?
Yeah, fine.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's fine.
You have to come, see us after to fill out. Don't leave. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the next committee. And coming up next is VP External and Community Affairs. So I'll call up to the front, Jessica Lamb. And Claudia Morales. In the meantime, please keep your questions nice and short, and speakers, please keep your answers nice and short. We are running a little bit behind schedule, so be mindful of that. And I will start with Jessica first, then we'll go Trench. I'm sorry, that's a mouthful. I'll get used to it too, don't worry. Okay, go ahead, Jessica.
This is on. All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Jessica Lamb, candidate for Vice President, External and Community Affairs, and I'm very excited to be sitting here in front of all of you tonight. I'm passionate to run for this position, and that stems from the development of the passion I've developed for student advocacy and campus engagement over my past few years of post-secondary. I first got involved at JIBC, where I served as their Director of External Relations for 2 years. I was campus rep before that. And through that, I got involved with the BC Federation of Students, where I'm now twice elected and current director at large. Through these experiences, I've been able to be a significant voice for the student movement, and I've learned 2 key things about student advocacy. So number 1 is there are a lot of issues facing students. There's no 2 people in this room who have the exact same experience, but we do have quite a few things in common. The constant struggles with housing insecurity, food insecurity, and in general lack of affordability in secondary life, and just the life of being a young Canadian right now. And number 2, student advocacy seems daunting, and the situation may at times look quite bleak. But I can assure you that what I've learned is we as students have a lot of power, especially and only when we work together. In my roles, it was my job to lead the collective, uniting groups across different post-secondary institutions across BC, and not just my campus, and giving them the faith that we are in fact making progress, even though it may seem slow. So why vote for me? Right now, I may be an unfamiliar face as a fairly new SFU student, but I can promise you active engagement and advocacy, strengthening connections within the community and other organizations to help advance your unique interests as SFU students, and above all, transparency. Regular updates on my projects, holding myself accountable to the campaign promises that you guys elected me to fulfill. If there's one thing you can be sure of, is that a vote for me is a vote for progress, persistence, and presence. Thank you.
Change. Yes, sir. Go ahead. You are not. The switch?
Hey everyone, my name is Pransh. I'm the current vice president of events and student affairs. Before that, I was the co-president of the Youth Student Federation. Most of you all would know me from events happening all over the building, all over the campus, even on campus and different locations. Some of you all would know me from the Indian community. Yeah, I've been here for almost 4 years now, part of the student community, trying to build a student life that's more and more engaging and helpful for a student if always possible. I've been able to organize the most, if not one of the most number of events in my year as the vice president of events. And I do take that statement very proudly, as the number of uncounted dollars that I've put into the society is definitely not just something that I'm proud of, but also something that has helped me develop myself and maybe somehow develop the future of the society. I have nominated myself for the position of a VP external because I've identified this gap in our student society's relations with people outside of this campus. We, as an executive team, we walked into none too slim relationship with people in corporations or the government. Our executive team worked very hard, our current VP external worked very hard to establish these relationships with the government and corporations, and I happen to be a part of it, and I want to continue establishing this relationship, which will help the society in the long term. Thank you.
Surya, your turn. And you can start now.
Hello. Hi. Hello everyone, I'm Surya Murthy and I'm your current candidate for VP External and Community Affairs. And I'm running for this position because there are, well, so many reasons it's gonna be verbose. But as an international student, last year I experienced a 6% increment in student fees, and that was like a really big issue financially as well. And I know many people personally who are only taking like one course in the coming summer semester, because not because they don't want to like take courses, it's because they cannot afford to take courses. And on top of that, on top of all these financial difficulties, students are also facing food insecurity. They're facing actual safety concerns as well. And there's just so many issues that I want to work for. And as your VP external, I'll make sure that SFSS is connected with all these other student unions, such as the BCFS, who Jessica here is really closely involved with, APCS, and there are so many more groups that are willing to help students in order to lobby against issues such as fee increments. And I want to lobby for capping student fees. As you all know, the domestic students have a 2% cap on their student fees. Similarly, but not similarly, actually, international students don't have such a cap. And so it's gonna lead to the same situation as every international student faced last year, which was 6% increment. And I feel like that's unfair. And I feel like we should lobby in these student organizations that are yearning to help students. And I want to make sure that things run fairly. I want to make sure that students have more food security options in terms of who they can turn to. SFSS has so much potential. There's so much resources that there are, but people are not taking up, like making use of them very well. So I want to make sure that happens, and I'll make sure it happens.
Question from the audience. Wow. Don't be shy.
My question is to you. How do you explain your term in three sentences for the SFSS events that you worked with this whole year? And what were the things that you won't be repeating now? Because we have seen a lot of things that should be done, keeping sustainability of the whole organization in mind. If you were to be elected as the new VP external. Can you repeat the question? Sure. So for your term, which was for this year, what were the things that you won't be repeating? Just in three sentences, and keep the sustainability of the organization in mind. If you were to be elected as the new VP external. Great question, Raj. So as I look back on my term, I definitely am very proud of it, but also there were definitely things I would have done different. And although I've done numerous amount of my events, quite fulfill all of my duties, there were definitely gaps that needed to be filled. Walking into a position with pretty much no background of like what had to be done and possibly no specific training, I had to revamp the whole social scene at SFU from zero up because of how inactive the society had been. But definitely looking back at it, there would have been some more considerations that would have done regarding student needs and student what students are looking for in the community. And when I look back at it, maybe that would be something that the future VP events would be able to take from me and perhaps reorganize these things with more attendance and more engagement for students.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
Hi, this is a question for you. So first of all, I admire the efforts behind fall kickoff, but that's what I'm asking you about today. What I'm going to ask you is regarding a recently trending Reddit post where you claim that consent is not permitted. What's your response to this?
Of course. So some just to start, I'd like to say there's all these allegations going on Reddit regarding everything that you see. Take it as you may, but things are not actually what they seem like always. In my defense, completely understandable. Those chats are definitely me. They are from around 5 years ago when I was about 17-year-old. I am a fully grown adult now, and I have always respected them. And my events and the kind of environment that I've created for students and membership, including training for volunteers for sexual violence prevention, biofamily training, and mandatory SDSP collaboration for all my events. I think that's what you need to judge me from, instead of like some messages from my teenage years, from some group chat that I don't even remember.
Well, thank you for that.
So as your role as VP events, how will you make smart financial decisions to be accountable when some of your projects land us $130,000 in debt while ignoring council authority?
Well, I don't know where you get the word debt from, because all I see is that it has an investment in the student community. And but things like orientation weeks, concerts, and welcome weeks are not places to make money. It's definitely a place to make community for our students and incoming students, to encourage people to come here and join in society, not just make money. I do understand that a 130K investment might look big to you, but as an executive team and as myself as VP of events, I do see future value in it that's building out and will definitely be valuable to the society.
We all determine what that value is. Thank you.
This is a question for all of you. Given that the role is like about sort of like relationships with outside organizations, I'm curious, if y'all would sort of be moving with principles in line with the sort of like BDS movement in support of like Palestinian liberation, and how you would like sort of be moving with that embodiment and carrying those principles into the relationship you have with the government, corporations, other sort of organizations in British Columbia and across the country. Thank you.
Okay, so that's a good question. I do think SFSS needs to be more in touch with the other student unions, such as BCFS, ABCS, and especially for causes such as capping tuition fees, you have to be in a big team in order to lobby to the government for such cause. Because right now, there's not much going on in that front. And it's a very big problem, right? It's very verbose if I go into big details. But whenever you are working on, for example, lobbying against fee increments, you need to have a solid background in terms of, okay, why is it bad? And you need to have policy research for that. And I know that there are many people who have already done the work in different unions such as BCFS, ABCS, people in KUFA have done that work. And
Sorry,
yeah,
I'll cut you off.
it's fine, yeah. Thank you.
Hi, sorry, I know you sat down, but would you be able to repeat that last part of the question? Or the whole question, I have a few different ideas of where to go with this.
Yeah, that's okay. Basically just like, if folks will be moving, in alignment with like, the principles of the BDS movement and sort of support for Palestinian liberation. In the relationships that folks are building, with other like organizations, and then how folks would actually do that and bring that into being in relationships with different organizations. Does that make sense?
Yes, I'll touch on, so sort of kind of talked about working with different organizations to lobby the government, but I kind of want to focus on what you mentioned about the Palestinian movement. Because one of my recent projects actually with the BCFS, I don't know if anyone's familiar with VIU, but there was an issue, there was a Palestinian protest, it was, the word is eluding me right now, but it was basically like very peaceful, students were just waiting outside the library, and basically the school was, they imposed this lockdown, these very strict procedures, they were like racially profiling and bag searching any students that, fit the description of what they thought a Palestinian supporter would be. Basically, VIU Student Union went against that, and they challenged them, and they actually took them to court. And with the BCFS, I was with the Justice Institute, but we signed on to their letter and went alongside with them to the injunction at court. We're basically there just kind of supporting them and pointing out the flaws in the university's actions, how they were unconstitutional, they violated the charter of rights on multiple grounds. And regardless, like, it's not the university's job to take a political stance. It's their job to respect the students' rights as Canadian citizens, or not even citizens, people on Canadian soil, to peacefully organize regardless of the political viewpoints of the institution, which arguably, of course, shouldn't even be imposed on students. So I'd like to continue working with different groups, especially with BCFS. Of course, recognizing the challenges there were internal difficulties back in 2008, as that was mentioned with the court case. But I'd like to continue working with them and just building off of that experience and supporting students as best we can in their efforts, their advocacy efforts. Hopefully that answers the question, or at least part of it.
So sorry.
In the interest of time, listen to the question, please. I'm fine, have any question?
So the question was about, whether you'd be moving in the relationship that you're building, with the alignment with the sort of, principles of the BDS movement, and the movement to support Palestinian liberation. And then beyond sort of whether or not you would be moving with those values, if you are, how would you do that, and how would you sort of manifest that?
100%. Being a part of the team, honestly, it did come as a shock to me regarding how many organizations and corporations we just cannot partner with because of our issues, policies, and guidelines. Just outside of that, just how much against in general they are being against the union movements all over the world. But in my opinion, there's still a long list of organizations and corporations that's untapped, and we are able to collaborate and grow with them. Definitely outside of the BDS movement, outside of people who are supporting these union actions all over the world. And in my platform, we've seen firsthand that it's hard. Definitely requires a lot of work, but there's a lot of opportunity that's going to come.
Thank you. On that note, we have time, and we're gonna do the 1 minute closing statements, I did not forget this time. And we can start with just. Go ahead.
Okay. First of all, again, I'd just like to say thank you guys so much for having me. This is my first time attending a huge university coming from JIUC, and I'm so happy to see the amount of engagement from the students. So round of applause to you guys, first of all. And yeah, I mean, as like I said, I'd just like to thank everyone for coming. And as I mentioned, I've been extremely passionately involved in the student movement over the past couple of years, and I would definitely love to continue that through the SFSS, bridging the gap between the BCFS and the SFSS, and working together to face these challenges that we as students are facing together. Yeah, so when you vote on February 27th and 28th, please remember that this lamb is not sheepish. Thank you.
Again, everyone. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you all for making me last year. I don't think I've expressed enough gratitude just because how busy I'm running all these initiatives. But thank you so much. And as I come back into this position, if you all voted for me, I do promise I'll come in with the same amount of commitment, same amount of countless hours of work that will be put into the student society, and more initiatives that will come up. And you get somebody who has proven that they are committed to student life and they're going to be making a better student environment for you all. On the last note, I do want to say, because it's going to be late by the 10th referendum, people come to talk. So please support all 3 referendums. The student society that you are to support. Please vote yes on all 3 referendum and the health and dental insurance as well. Thank you.
Yeah, so I feel like SFSS needs to be more active in terms of staying together, unified with other student unions and other student-oriented groups. And I feel like I am really passionate about that, and I want to tackle different problems that are of matter, they have some value, and I want to make sure that those problems are tackled properly with diligence and with honesty. And I feel like SFSS doesn't need just performative advocacy. I feel like they need real action, and I'll make sure that happens. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. You can go back to your seats. So I'm gonna invite some of the members of the current exec team, and they will be talking to you about the current. Talking to you guys about the referendum that they will be putting out this term. I don't know who's gonna come up, but that will happen in a second. I'll quickly walk you guys to the rest of the agenda, just so you know what you have to expect for the rest of the day. We have a break coming up at around 6:20. It's past 6:20. That's crazy. Wow, 7:15 will be your break. You'll have like 15 minutes to socialize, talk to people, maybe get some more food, drinks. And then I promise you, in the interest of time, I will try my best to get through this next bit. But yeah, current exec team will talk to you guys about the referendum.
My name is Anna, and I'm currently board chair and counselor representing Park Sustainability. And I am here today to explain more about our referendum question 1. So as you might have seen on the posters outside campus, student societies, including PJFF, so our radio station, TP, SFR, and Park Sustainability are asking for a increase each. So that's $1.50 for students and 75 cents for partners, as well as SFSS $12 and $6 for full-time and part-time respectively. And this is considering like the rate of inflation, so that's an issue that these societies have been facing for a really long time. As you might have seen, like, we have not raised our fees from 9 to 30 years, which affects the stability and provision of our services. Now, you might be asking why the increase and what these will go towards. So a big part of that is maintaining and delivering quality services and programs for students. And there's a huge list of that you might see on that FAQ. But some things that I might speak about now is our food and produce distribution program, events centered around skill building, as well as learning, maintaining physical spaces for community gatherings, student job opportunities, providing for passionate folks who do want to create more events for students, and a lot more initiatives. That is a little bit about referendum 1. I don't know if we're doing like, we're explaining each referendum and then the questions after, or if this is open question, but.
I would say go through the referendums.
All
first.
of them?
Okay. Sorry. Before this, as Lonnie works, so. Our second question is on the health dental plan, please. Okay, the first question is on a one-time increase. The increase plan fee from $267 to $364. It is a $97 increase, which is a lot. However, the plan fee is on the raise in several years, which means that we're facing significant pressures on the plan that mean if we don't increase it, we're gonna have to decrease the coverage. So you're looking at either a $97 increase to keep the current coverage with minor benefit increases, or a similar size decrease that'll pretty much entirely get your healthcare plan. And whereas if you use the healthcare plan and you take advantage of it, you can easily make it always worth your while with the new rate. Once the healthcare plan is significantly decreased, then like only be able to do that.
Just to jump in quickly, sense to the question as well. But there's this question as well, which is a question, and it's both about health and dental. However, there's two separate questions. But I just wanted to, before I speak any further on this, I just wanted to see in the room, how many people know about the health and dental? Just raise your hand. Okay, how many people have used the plan? Okay, how many people have opted out of the plan? Okay, how many people use it for dental? And then how many people use it for L? That's cool. I asked that question, those questions, because it sort of explains the statistics that we have on our plan. We show that generally more people tend to use it for the dental. And then it also shows that most people generally know about the plan, but some people actually have never used the plan. And that's an important part of this referendum. Yes, Sam has talked about the increase, but we're also trying to also understand the plan and know what is covered under the plan. And there's much more description about what is covered under the plan on the student care website. You can find out more about that. But I think as Sam mentioned, this is not us just trying to increase because we want to increase, it's because we need to. And you know, there's generally two options for us if this passes or doesn't pass. If it does pass, it allows us to enforce and also maintain the plan the way it currently is. And then obviously the potential of bringing back some of the difficult decisions we had to make earlier this year. And then of course, if it doesn't pass, I think the options are very clear. We would need to cut on some coverages that students currently have access to. It's a difficult reality, and that's why we're posing these questions now, because they're important conversations to have So I just encourage people to find out more about the plan, know what it actually covers, know what you're missing out on, because I actually think a lot of people are missing out on some things that's covered on the plan and they just don't know about it. And then in a couple of days, you get the opportunity to vote yes. And I strongly encourage you to vote yes, because I know some people might opt out of the plan. And it might not be important to you, but it's important to your friends, your colleagues, and that might actually use the plan. And this increase allows us to maintain the plan and make sure that people that need it are able to access it. What I've found with the health and dental plan is, we could give her a spill, and I'm just gonna end it at that, but I found that more productive conversations about the health and dental plan happens during the question period. So most people have a lot of questions, uncertainty about why we need to increase what the plan cover, and I think that's really productive conversations. So I just want to save your time for a lot of questions to ask you my son. Just for clarity, before Sam wants to touch quickly on the CPI and jump right into questions. Yeah, probably let's talk about the CPI.
Just a quick note on the third question. It is giving the SFSS Board of Directors, i.e. the council, the authority to increase the fee by up to 5% per year for the health and dental plan, requiring that the SFSS Board of Directors first give notice of motion period to inform students before they actually vote on the motion in order to get student feedback. This is to ensure that at 5, 3, or how many years from now, the Board of Directors is not in the same situation, and that we can ensure stable benefits for SFU students next year, the year after, and going forward.
Sure. Voice, try to silence me, but we're gonna get our time. Who had elections? I think they're so fun. I think I'm gonna talk specifically to some of our candidates, if you guys want to sort of feel the energy I'm putting out, but I've been in council at SFSS for about 3+ years now. I've worked alongside many candidates or many executives. Some good, some not so good, but I think that even the worst executives that I've worked alongside, and there have been many, they do still have the one thing in common, which is they always leave this place just with so much love in their heart and so much passion still for the work that they've done. And I think that goes for all of the board members of the groups that I've worked with, the groups that are collaborating with us on this referendum. And I think some of the executives and especially some of the candidates, they come in so excited about this work, and they are sort of struck or frustrated with some of the undeniable, the unforeseen, but also unavoidable barriers that we face as students and as a student society, which is that we still operate in a system where things are super unaffordable for students, and then even the groups that are trying to support those students are running into issues of affordability. So regardless of what you're bringing to the table as candidates, and for the students in the room, regardless of who you're here to support, I'm glad that you guys come out, to see your friends, but these referendum questions are so important regardless of, what you're here to vote for, or who you're here to vote for. So I hope that all of you, alongside your campaigns, alongside supporting your friends, choose to support the referendums, because the survival of our groups and the healthcare that we provide for students is critical, regardless. So thank you, and thank you for your time.
Just a quick comment before we jump into questions, if there's any. It's about the third question, and we received this question a lot, so I think it's important to clarify. The 5% is not automatic. It's a cost effective measure put in place. I just wanted to clarify that because some students think it's automatic 5% every year, but that's not the case. That's not what that allows us to do. So I just want to clarify that too. I'll turn it over to you for questions.
Does anyone, Does anyone have any questions about the referendum? You can come up to the mic. And can everyone in the back please take their seats, please? You'll have your break soon.
I was wondering what we would lose if the referendum didn't pass, like what kind of benefits?
Okay, great question, great question. Any VP finance will find it most impossible to balance the SFSS budget if they don't have it, if this fee fails. If we're looking at, increasing it, like, if it fails, right now, sort of what we're looking at is minor decreases and increases with the SFSS budget to bring us to a even point. You don't have it, you're like here, and then you have to bring everything down to here. Very painful process. I don't want to speak in hypotheticals about exactly what services will be cut, but rest assured, if question one fails, you will see less student services and less student events. For question two, your health coverage, your drug coverage, 100%, your dental coverage, you'll be paying a lot more out of pocket for a lot more things. If we're talking about increasing the plan by $97, if that fails, we're gonna have to decrease it by a similar amount, so it's going to be catastrophic for a healthcare.
And maybe just to add in, a way that I think has been useful that we've started to students throughout today and the past few days is, if it fails, or, the cost of the $97, if it fails, you sort of end up paying more than that each time you visit a dental, each time you visit, the doctor, whatever it might be. So it's actually more cost effective for the $97 to increase your plan, so to increase how much you're paying, because it actually allows you to cover those visits, as opposed to having to pay out of pocket each time you visit the doctor or dentist. So maybe that's a way to view it as well, that it's a cost more effective option for you.
Thank you. This will be our last question for the referendum. Hi, Jeffrey.
For question one, I was wondering why the inflationary increase and the fee levy were bundled to the same answer, especially because I think part two is mostly the most unpopular part of the question so far. Because the fee levy is a relatively small increase, but the inflation forever automatically is not such a small increase.
Look into sort of the background and information that we've been putting on the fee levy increase, you'll know that groups like SFR have had a fee increase in the past 30 years. So if you look even into the history of SFSS referendums, you'll find that executive teams have tried and failed to pass referendums year after year after year, some not even meeting quorum. So it's not really so much of a governance or policy specification as much as it's a capacity question as to, do we think that this is our best shot to get these things done, which is yes, and also just reflecting the reality of the world where inflation will continue to increase year after year. I don't think that's ever going to stop. So it's more about protecting those groups so that they don't disappear alongside, our own student society.
I think just to jump in on there as well, I know looking at the platform, we talked about centering staff and decision making, and part of the inflationary increase question one, which is different to the one in question three, as it's tied to inflation from the government of Columbia. It's set, not something that the SFSS is any decision making over. We don't have year-end inflationary increases. We can't give staff raises, and so given inflation, folks would have to take pay cuts, and we can't hire staff and retain good people out there.
I think also
not only are we trying to balance in that sense, but there's also rising costs of asset, looking at events, looking at 10 years about actual resources and the actual staff to their wages, it's a lot larger of a discrepancy. And so not only are we trying to balance that inflation aspect, but also the rising costs. And again, it's a lot more progressive to do that with smaller changes adding to inflation instead of, or honestly having to do now with dental because we haven't had that inflationary increase and now it's like a little bit worrisome when you're putting out numbers like $97, but again, that's not even been touched on. We feel that these things are an investment and having $97 will bring you back a much larger portion of money back if you are using those benefits. So unfortunately, we live in Canada where rising costs are always going to be an issue. So if we're balancing that out, the year after year, a smaller portion of increase is a lot easier on the student than having a lump sum.
I know we're out of time and out of question time, so I'll just close quickly. Maybe on two things about all of the recurring question. One of them, the first one is important, and I know we've got a lot of these questions. It's important to know that you can opt out. If it's really a problem for you, you can opt out, except one thing, which is the SFSS. So just wanted to clarify that. And then on the second one, it looks like, it's $97 and it's a lot of money. But it's important to recognize that we're doing this now, but realistically, this process should have been done years ago. Many executive team have failed to take on the project to deal with this, and this one chose to deal with it. And if this fails, the next time this becomes a referendum, I could imagine the cost to actually be more. So the $97 in accumulation of the past, decades that this plan hasn't accrued. So that's why you see a large sum of increase. So I just wanted to put that out there. And I think the current tariffs that's being suggested, it is no surprise to anyone. It is going to impact the dental. Several drugs and many things that's covered through the plan is going to be impacted by that. So I just want to clarify that there's also private costs, and all of these are just cost-effective measures being put in place. But thank you guys. I will be voting in favor. There's the fight of this year. Thank you.
I'm going to take a break now. Please reconvene here at 7:20. Thank you.
You question a little bit. That's a great kid. It's like, I could have heard something after doing that.
Thank you very much.
On this note, people are.
I'm just assuming since you're sitting here that you might be the one on time. Okay, got you. I was just wondering if it's recorded, that's all.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep. Let's go.
Thanks.
So. We're gonna be starting again in 2 minutes, so if you can start taking your seats now, that would be great. We ask that people start taking their seats now, we're gonna start again a minute.
Oh, that's why. That makes sense.
What's good, vlog? Hi, chat.
We don't think you guys are too late, and everyone take their seats, please. Everyone take their seats. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna start the second round of draw. What you guys have left is Cineplex VIP, Cineplex normal, and Tim Hortons, 25 years. Just give me a second.
Okay, we're gonna do the second round. Okay, can I get the
drum roll, please? Thank you. Okay. Our next raffle winner is 836-205. 836-205. Okay, come on. Okay, and then I'll call to the front our next committee. Okay, so our next committee is VP, Events and Student Affairs. So I'll call to the front Yusuf Naru. Mayan, how do I say it? Mayan Towers. Albert Radu. We'll have 2 pre-recorded videos from V. We have 1 recorded video from Giselle. Okay, and then Yusuf, you can start your opening speech. I'll give you 2 minutes and I'll give you a gentle reminder over next 10 seconds left. And you can start whenever you're ready.
Hello, testing. So first I should probably introduce why I decided to run. I went for the AGM and at that time I discovered quite a lot of interesting things that I personally felt that could possibly be improvement upon. I suggested my ideas at that time, and after which it's also interesting things. For example, I believe in December, SFSS issued almost $50 million credit line of credit that they had. $50 million is a lot of money, for example. And other than that, SFSS has done a lot of things in order to help improve students' lives, be it helping to make the stadium, paying $10 million along with SFU to help build the telefox field. So initially, I wanted to go for finance. So, but in the end, some weird things happened and I'm in events. Regardless, I'm quite really happy because I've talked to both finance candidates and I've either convinced or helped formulate how they can possibly do an endowment. So either way, I'm quite happy with the idea that we can better improve student funding as far as some different streams. That would be quite important considering that we have had, as minimum wage increases every year, amount of stock here, even if it's constant, their costs are going to increase. And as such, the amount of money required to pay to them will keep increasing, which is why student fees will also keep increasing. I think, SFSS we're here today because lots of people had really long-term visions where we look at it. This building did not exist here 10 years ago. People worked hard for this. People had visions. And so bringing that in mind, we really want to continue with that same vision in head. At that time, when I had gone for the AGM, they had run a deficit. I really would like to thank the team for how well they have done in order to create surplus this year. If I remember correctly, this year the budget is the surplus, but at that year it was pretty bad. That being said, okay, so yeah, I'll say the finishing remarks, the proposals I would like to do for events, and thank you so much, and I'll wish you to vote for you soon now. Thank you.
Very nice.
Can you guys hear me?
I think put the switch up. There you go.
Hello, audible? All right. Before I start, I want to thank all you lovely and wonderful people for taking the time out and showing up here. Because you guys know that this stuff really matters. So please give yourselves a huge round of applause. I'm Wayne, and SFU has been my home for the past 4 years. Some of y'all might know me from the really bad picture of me in WMC and DQ holding an air gun. And if not, I'm thankful. And there are 3 things on my agenda. Number 1 is that I really want to open the hub, the study hub. The reason is that will give students somewhere to go after class and relax, and it will help us beat the community school allocations. Second one is to have an amazing politic hall. I know that's a very ambitious goal, but I think as an SFU student, being the 2nd largest university in BC, I don't think we get to make excuses and say, oh no, we had like financial shortcomings. We need to find ways and still make that happen. And I'm very ambitious, and I know I can make it happen. The third one is I want to host a lot more community events throughout the year. And the thing is that I love my culture, but I've always felt that the SFSS has always preferred hosting Diwali and Holi a lot more than say like other events. And you know, there's a lot of constituency groups that would also love to have a share of that of that of the SFSS budget to host events. And that's how I feel about that. That's my agenda.
Thank you.
Hello? Okay, I think we're working. Good? Yeah, cool. All right, so my name is Albert Verdu, and I'm running to try and create a more open, welcoming, and inclusive community for our campus. So let's get straight into policy. I am a member of the SFU Team Bantam, and I was an attempted founder of a club at Simon Fraser University. And one thing that I immediately found when trying to work through the club system is that there's a lot of red tape, a lot of barriers, and it's very difficult for a lot of the club executives to get the money that they need to run their events. So I think clubs are the lifeblood of a good university campus. If clubs are able to provide the services and opportunities for students to engage with their peers in their interest areas, then that will help drive more engagement through our campus for these clubs. So what I want to do as executive is to speed up the request on these financial procedures, investigate why reimbursements take so long, see what we can do anything about that. If we can't, we should be transparent about clubs, about how long this procedure will take. I also want to have orientations for new club executives to make sure that these club executives are able to onboard into the club system really nicely. And I want to promote an insurance reform so that the clubs that are running are able to actually do the events they want to do without running into problems with our current insurance plan. Now let's talk about social spaces. It's an open secret that the fire pits in front of the Convocation Mall that were taken out were very unpopular when they were, very popular that they were taken out. So obviously there were financial concerns here with the cost of propane, but those were a place where students could gather and communicate with their peers and feel connected to a greater campus. So what we need to do is, instead of just removing these fire pits, we need to see creative alternatives. Things like hot drinks or other snacks you can put in those areas. So we have a campus where you go somewhere after your class and feel engaged with your peers. Yeah, thank you. I'll end there.
We have a video from V. Babar.
Before I begin, I want to acknowledge that SFU's Burnaby campus is located on the traditional unceded territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, Wakut, Pequotlam nations. We recognize and respect their connection to this land and are grateful to learn, gather here for this debate today. Hey SFU, my name is Rahul Gopar, but you can call me V, and I'm running to be your next VP Events and Student Affairs. When I first came to SFU, I saw how disconnected student life could feel. This is why I got involved, and because I knew we could build something better. Over the past year, I've worked as the Associate Vice President Events and Student Affairs. I'm also the President of SFU Pursuit of Happiness and the Events Director for Resource and Environmental Management Student Association. I was also the Community Advisor at SFU Residence, and in all these experiences, I have created long-lasting student impressions and events that bring us all together. But I know we can do more. I have 4 goals that would make a campus feel alive. Number 1, faster funding. So no more longer waits for clubs and DSUs to get event grants. Number 2, I want a campus that celebrates you. With students from over 133 countries, every culture deserves a spotlight. Number 3, more networking opportunities. I want to pool resources with SFU to bring in career fairs, industry panels, and even mentorship programs. Number 4 is to have inclusive events and student voices. I want to ensure that all marginalized communities are heard and represented in student life. Now, this isn't just about events, it's about making SFU a place we're excited to be. If you're ready for a real change in student life, vote B for VP Events and Student Affairs. Thank you.
We spelled V's name wrong on the slide. It shouldn't have an R at the end, so his name is V. Sorry about that. Any questions from the audience? We'll be taking two. And then I have one online.
Hey Mike, he's actually my friend. But I wanted to ask him, he's actually one of the only people who said he's gonna open the study hub. And I've been one of the unlucky ones who hasn't seen the study hub from inside. And I've heard it's very, very cool. But I had a question, like I've heard the study hub was running on like loss before it shut down. So if students don't use the study hub, like what's the point of opening it, like if it won't be profitable?
Okay, to answer your question, I would say that the study hub shut down when COVID was still a very relevant issue. There were no students on campus, no one could pay. And I kind of get why they shut it down. But now that we're all here, why not? Actually, recently, the past couple of days, I've been taking a survey. I have surveyed about, sorry.
1 second.
Sorry?
1 second.
10 seconds? All right. Okay. Maybe someone else wants to mention that again, but that's my answer. There's a lot more people now, so it's going to function. Awesome. Study well.
Thank you. Please try to keep your answers and your questions nice and short.
Okay, this one is for Mayank. I'm gonna keep it like really short. So I saw three things about your campaign. First, it was kickoff, the study hub, the 5 years. So as we all know, like all of these promises like add up to like I don't know, like thousands of dollars. So what is your plan regarding their financing, and what do you feel about the kickoff that happens?
Okay. Number one, let's start with the study hub, okay? We don't have to go strong and open that every day. We can start off by opening it one night a week, maybe 2 nights, maybe a Friday night. People will show up. A lot of people on campus on Friday. There's a lot of people living on there. There's 5,000 people living here. For kickoff, one of my ideas was just getting one artist that can sell tickets and to make a profit on that. We only sold 60% of the tickets last kickoff, from what I've heard. Now, if you get someone who is actually going to sell tickets, you won't be in a bad position. You will still make money.
So, with all of you guys, how are you going to include and what groups are you going to actually for?
That's all.
What groups are you gonna prioritize making events for?
Yeah,
We'll start from Yusuf, and please keep your answers short, and we'll work our way down.
I didn't really talk much about my policies. One of the things I was really hoping to do is perhaps make a bigger multi-play center, because for example, in Juma, which is a Muslim event, there's not enough space to do it. Relatively speaking, you have to use the gym area. For Catholics, for example, they have a space actually not this big, in which they have to, do the sermon and thing where they say their sins and they follow with me. So there's not a lot of space. I feel like making a bigger place can help it make it more inclusive as far as that's concerned. And overall, my priority is mainly on making a new place so that we can host events based on that. Because we can use the existing infrastructure to host events. The student union building is used to make lots of events. Thank you.
Look, we're all human beings, and I'm not going to prefer a community over another. But I will say that what I did say in my opening statement, I have seen the SFSS put way more emphasis on South Asian events, even though I'm South Asian, and I love what they're doing. I have seen a lack in Arab, Latino, and Black events and African and Caribbean events. So I think we need to allocate way more to these events as well, because these are important as well.
Okay, yeah. So I'd like to talk a bit more about how we can tackle this issue, like kind of from the base. So I think that right now we have obviously a very diverse campus, a lot of different groups and student groups, representing these groups. And what I think we need to do better as FSSS Yeah, is break kind of like this black box of where we don't know exactly what's going on in the executive board, and we don't know how we can contribute as students to see the changes we want to see. So with your example, with the events pertaining to specific cultures or specific groups, I think that if students have a better method of communication with executives, in however form that takes, whether it's through online forums, whether it's through in-person discussion, and we need to make sure we obviously advertise as well. I think that that will allow student groups to be able to have their voice heard on these executive boards and be sure that when we're hosting events, we're hosting lots of events throughout the year that pertain to many different cultural groups within our schools, that everyone feels welcome on our campus.
So Albert, so basically you mentioned something about orientation for executive members. Sorry. Orientation for executive members.
What?
Orientation.
Orientation.
Yeah, can you expand on that, please?
Yeah, so when you're found, so that was for club executives. When you're founding a new club at Simon Fraser University, there is a mandatory meeting that you have to do with an SFSS staff member. And in that meeting, they'll let you know if your club has been approved and denied. Now, the issue is, if you look at some of the financial forms on the SFSS financial form website for clubs, I've read through them myself. It takes a long time to understand ins and outs, and even if you do, for example, with reimbursements, I've been talking to a lot of different club executives on my campaign. You can submit all the forms you need for reimbursements, and then SFSS will come back to you saying, actually, we need this form as well. So what we need to do is make sure that's verified, and what that orientation will do is show new club executives, okay, this is where you find all these forms, this is where the information you need to effectively run your club financially, membership growth, this is where it all is, and if we can help these new executives get on board that process faster, we can also ensure that these clubs grow faster and can get financially self-sufficient from possibly outside sources. And obviously that lowers the burden on SFSS to fund as well.
That's it, thanks.
So this is for all candidates. We're all aware of the financial situation of the SFSS, and a lot of these events tend to go over budget. Are you willing to consider working with UBC Student Society to have collaborated events where not only do we stay within budget but divide costs, but also provide opportunities for students from both campuses to network? Thank you.
And again, we'll start from Yusuf and keep your answers short, please.
I think that's a very good suggestion, and overall, obviously, we will use policy researchers and so on to help research as to how we can get back for buck, as they say, where we can spend the least amount of money while getting the best amount of output for all our students, and that is one of the ways we could possibly do it. Thank you.
Alright, so recently, actually, I was reading an article on the EMS, and I heard that they're in shambles right now, because a lot of their duties are resigning. And I do think that the suggestion that you bring up is amazing, and I do happen to have connection with the EMS, because I visit UBC a lot. I know the ex-manager bit, so I'm there very often. So yeah, that is something that we could work on.
Cool. Yeah, so as a first-year transfer student from the University of Victoria, I think I have a unique experience in which I was able to see how a different school runs their club events and their school events. And I think that made some of the best memories of my life in that first year, seeing how engaged our campus was. And what I think we can take from that is seeing how other schools are engaging their students can be really valuable, obviously, to apply to ourselves. It's a really neat suggestion with collaborating with UBC, but also I don't see why we shouldn't do that. If there's opportunities that present themselves that benefit both us and them that are financially responsible, I think that's a really good suggestion.
Thank you.
Question for you, Mani. You mentioned clubs and insurance, like for example, SFSS, I think it's their responsibility to provide all sorts of insurance, and like there's no insurance for say water-related activities and the like, and of course there are many gaps. Do you have like a plan to address that?
Yeah, thanks for asking. So just like you said, insurance doesn't cover a lot of areas. For example, when I was starting my own club, I was trying to start a club, and we couldn't start it because SFSS had restrictions on racing. And regardless of what insurance we choose that has restrictions on certain things or not, I think that a lot of faculty, for example, FAS, Faculty of Applied Science, currently they suffer a lot because a lot of their clubs, for example, the Rocketry Club, any club that has to do with engineering, they feel a lot of limits from the SFSS insurance policy.
I can't tell you exactly which insurance policy we'll be getting, but what I do really want to do is ensure that whatever we get, we make it so it's more inclusive and that student groups that do want to form, because obviously there's a lot of interest for many like clubs and groups, and those clubs that want to form, we need to make sure we can get as many of them in as possible with this new insurance policy. And if that comes at a small premium, I think that that is worth it still, because we can foster that investment in student engagement through clubs.
So the question online was for mine, but it was already asked with one of the people that asked you, so we'll move on to your closing statements. Yusuf, I'll start with you. You can go whenever you're ready.
So one of the things that I agree with is that we should make it easier and more transparent in the meeting clubs. Perhaps having info session during fall time when the clubs are made could be very useful. That's one of the things I would like to push for. Other than that, I think it's really important. Let's just make it like an ice rink or an indoor trampoline area. It'll be really fun, it'll be nice. People will enjoy. Once it's built, there's not much operational cost, and overall, there's one more place where people can come enjoy life on campus. Thank you.
Look, guys, I'm playing different. If I win or lose, I'm different. But I do know that if I win, I will give this position my all. I am a musician. Anything people is in my blood. I literally go on the streets on weekends and I perform there. So I will give this my all, and I promise you that. Thank you.
Yeah, so just like to reiterate my own statement, I'd like to thank you all for coming out here today and engaging in this process. I also want to say thank you to the fellow candidates. I've had nothing but great experiences during this campaign. It's been a really good learning experience for me, and I think for everyone up here. So I really appreciated that. I think that my experiences working within the club system, both as a club member and as when I tried to start my own club, my experiences at different schools, seeing how they ran events and the culture they could build, and my experiences at the workplace, where I worked as a program director for the Kitzbühel Yacht Club, and I managed to double their membership within 3 years and facilitate regular weekly events that boosted the activity at that club. I think overall these experiences speak well to the position, and because of that, I would love to sponsor you guys and bring student vision into this position so we can create a more connected campus together.
Okay, again, I'll walk you through what we have left. I wish I had agendas for all of you, although I wouldn't have followed the time, so maybe that was good that I did it. What we have left is 2 more positions. VP Equity and Sustainability, I'll call you guys up in a second. And we have 3 more. VP University and Academic Affairs, VP Equity and Sustainability, and for presidency. And then we'll do a raffle somewhere in the middle. Okay, so we'll do VP University Academic Affairs next. So I'll call up Rishu Baga and Brian Duritu. Rishu, whenever you're ready, I'll start with your opening statement, okay? Forward, yeah.
Hi, my name is Rishu, and I'm running to ask you to re-elect me as VP University in Academic Affairs. I'm the current VP University in Academic Affairs. During my term, I had the opportunity to build many strong relationships with the SFU management, which helped me put forward many campaigns and projects, such as bringing the much needed free menstrual equity projects on campus of all washrooms, put forward many harm reduction campaigns, such as the naloxone training, SFSS satisfaction survey, then just a bunch of stuff. The academic plan 2025 to 2030, I sat on the committee. And I've done much more stuff based upon my campaign, but I want to focus on the stuff that I wasn't able to do, such as connecting with the first floor, learn from their perspectives. I want to learn from their experiences, because my perspective is limited by my experiences. Secondly, we all know about the SFU budget cuts. Budget cuts against services that are essential to life, such as the food pantry. We deserve a community, a campus, a great campus experience. It looks like we're moving backwards as a society. And we deserve leaders and advocates that will help us and lead us with experience and capability. I ask you to look at the results that I brought, trust my abilities, that I'm gonna do the same again, but this time, bigger and better. Thank you, everybody.
Hello everyone, my name is Brian Kirby Deriso. I moved to Canada at the age of 15 from Kenya. I studied university in Kenya at the age of 16, but I was too young to experience life there. So I moved to Canada, Toronto, to experience the high school and university life. Moving to Canada allowed me to embrace both high school and university life from a new perspective. Since joining Samuel University, I've been impressed with the level of education, but I've also noticed something missing, the true university experience that I've always longed for. University is meant to be more than just classes and assignments. It should be about personal growth, meaningful connections, and shared experiences that we all have from a different country. However, too many students feel lonely, disconnected, and overwhelmed, and fully depressed by the environment we have built in SFU. This is why I'm running for Vice President of the University Academic Affairs. I want to bring a vibrant university experience that we all deserve, one where all students feel supported, engaged, and connected. By fostering multicultural connection, creating opportunities for collaboration across different fields in our school, and making education more accessible for those people who need it, especially for those who are facing political instability or economic instabilities in their country. We can transform SFU into a place where students just don't feel the need to only attend classes and leave, but to participate and be a part of it.
Thank you, Brian. We'll be taking questions from the audience. Going once. Thank you.
Hi, Risha. Could you expand a bit more on the menstrual equity campaign that you mentioned? I don't see a single menstrual product in any of our policies.
Absolutely. This makes me really proud because this is something we just completed and we are working with Jennifer Kanji, Director of EDI. This project is it's happening, it's approved. Now we just need to install them. You can hold me accountable to this. It's coming, it's here. You can ask her, it's coming here. Thank you, Chloe, for helping me for this.
One question, is it only the Burnaby campus or does it count for all other campuses?
The Vancouver campus already has this, so the focus is right now on the Burnaby campus and Surrey campus.
I have a question from online, and then you can go ahead after. There is a stigma that VPUAA has done the least work in the past 2 years. How do you plan to address this?
Whoa. Somebody needs to go on the SFSS page and see 70% of the videos are me. Who's saying this up? Come on. This is a joke. I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
So I think that Rishi might also be a part of the Senate, if I'm not mistaken, but given the position it's sort of about academic life, I know that there's been a lot of interesting discussion that has emerged in the Senate on behalf of some of the professors that are part of the Heterodox Academy group, and they've been really critical of DEI and have I think to the irritation of a lot of the other senator members have been sort of derailing meetings and sort of returning to conversations about how it needs to be sort of removed from the university and XYZ. So I'm curious, especially given the DEI initiative related to menstrual products and kind of things, the ways that you might have challenged that in this past year, these kinds of rhetoric that emerged in the Senate, and or how you, my friend, might also sort of address these things and sort of your relationship with the Senate and sort of the academic spirit of the university.
Okay, this is one of the points that I mentioned. there are experiences that I'm just unaware of. Like one of these, I'm so sorry, I don't know about this. But this is my plan this year. I will learn about these things, be more informed. Because at the end of the day, I'm still a student, right? I'm still learning slowly, and I want to learn more about this kind of stuff. So I will connect with the first floor, like you from SFPR. I would love to know more about this and accordingly take action, advocate against things like these, which are essential for life again. So I'm sorry, I don't have currently an answer, but I hope we can work together and get an answer.
She asked me a question as well, but could you repeat the last part when which was directed to me?
Yeah, it was just sort of about how you might like challenge in the relationship that you have with like maybe like professors or things. It's like a part of like the role in the academy. How you might challenge like harmful rhetoric or rhetoric that like might be damaging to students.
So like for instance in my class, like there are a couple people here who are highly in my class, but if you're in my class, I strongly I'm a criminology major and a sociology major. So most of the stuff that we mostly talk about is about people who are minority. And sometimes the teachers, of course the teachers have the best perspective, but being from Kenya and having friends in social situations who are impacted by colonization, by government policy, I have it's more of a plain answer, but I connect more with those people who are being affected. So I have a direct perspective to how it's affecting them. So I have clear answers on how to approach this issue. Yes.
Thank you. To Rishu, I think you have done things that are tangible over the year. But I'm wondering if you could reiterate on the things you would do from your previous year's platform from the 2024 election that you may not have been able to get to this year.
So like the previous like things I talked about, I wasn't able to.
Yeah, the things you promised us.
Yes. So I promised to advocate for more accessible learning, which is advocacy against subscription-based programs to iClickers and more hybrid classes. And I'm gonna swear on God, I've talked about this, I have advocated for this. You will not know about these things because they're behind doors. I can bring top off here and then I can tell you that I have talked about this. But the plan is that these issues are fundamental to the university, and these programs and these projects are going to be very huge to tackle. So I need more time for this. And because, for example, these are legal agreements the university has with the professors. They have so arbitrary rule on how they want to treat their class. So we need to, and we as a me need to talk to these faculties alone and like single by single. And this is going to be a huge project that I will continue in this year again. And I've talked about this in my campaign one more time. Okay, thank you.
Thank you both. Question for both of you. It's no doubt that this is a really strategic time at the university. The university has caught up a lot of things that are students. And this position is really strategic because it's one of the positions of the executive teams that deals directly with different parts of the university. My question to you is, what are some urgent or important initiatives for you that you plan to prioritize? How do you plan to help the university understand the importance of certain student services, both those that have been cut off and those that might potentially be?
That's great. The first thing that comes to mind is the food pantry that has been cut off, that provided food to thousands of people. So I've already, and you know about this, I've already talked to campus services. I'm trying to set up meetings with them to bring this initiative back because it was important, it was essential. There's many more services that I don't know about that are important to people, and that's what I'm going to learn by connecting to students. What are their priorities? So currently the priorities is providing more food initiatives, food security. I know there's housing crisis, which I'm not very, I'm not the best. I don't have much experience in that kind of perspective, in that scenario, but I want to learn, and that's how I'm gonna make new priorities. And I'm gonna use the connections that I've made this year to advocate for these things.
Thank you,
That it's
Rachel.
just balance.
I'll take your answer, Ryan.
Yeah, I just said, you know, it's a really strategic time at the university, and the university has a concern with things to students and student services, you know, some of the banking, and there's many others. I'm just asking, what's at the top of the priority list for you? And how do you plan to push back against the university when there is potential more student services that might be on the top?
So my understanding would be that to direct funding in there's a lot of money that's going to, I believe there's a lot of groups that are getting excess funding, and that funding is causing is overspending and also wastage in some parts. So I'd say like redirecting what's it called, investigating those funds that are given to them and seeing where they go, and then adjudicating those funds to those people who need them directly. And one big thing that I really want to add in my term to in SFU is I want to do SFU sports. Like I believe that SFU faculty, students, there's a big disconnect among all of us coming together with something like SFU Sports Day, increase the opportunity to have more sponsors for the school, to have more events, more people being had for that event, and also building more university connection. And in turn, that helps with us connecting and building the SFU engagement, because we don't have a lot of engagement to students. And yeah.
Thank you.
My question is for Rishu. You did mention that one of your goals this year, if elected, is to prioritize getting to connect more with the first floor, which is constituency groups and independent student societies. So how are we gonna know that this is, given you've been here for a year, how are we gonna know this is a priority for you? Or is it just something that is a campaign thing? Or how are we gonna ensure that we're electing someone who is gonna represent students in the university where there are a lot of rhetorics that sometimes don't represent the views of everybody? How are we gonna know this is something that you're gonna create for them? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. This is something that I promised to do, and I already started doing this. We can, I don't know, ask Mark, and I think we have already started working with them, and I'm gonna start working with all the other groups as well. I learned this really late in my term, that because again, I had certain priorities. I came into this role, I didn't really know a lot. There was a steep learning curve in the summer term. I was kind of lost. But I learned slowly with my peers, the help of my more experienced peers. So time was limited, but I will dedicate it next year, and I will hold myself accountable like I always have.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I hope you guys are still awake. We're gonna move on to closing statements. We're gonna start with you, Rishu. Yeah, I'll give you a gentle reminder of those kinds of info.
I would like to say the first thing, I love this place. It's my passion. I've given this place everything, and this place has given me everything. I'm not gonna take this lightly. I love this place. I'm gonna run for this, and I'm gonna give it my all, like I have the last year. So please make an informed decision. Trust me one more time. Let's build on the success I've had. Bring more teams to the future, and please vote yes to the referendum. All of them. Even if it's not important to you, it's important to somebody else. Let's support all each other together, and let's please support all of us. Thank you.
To those that know me personally, I'm an artist. I express myself and my thoughts. I connect to those who I connect to group. I connect to people who are coming to Canada at such a young age and just being by myself. I came here without family or anything at such a young age. I want to connect with people who don't connect as much to the environments they're in, and it's given me a broad perspective and understanding of life, culture, and I believe that
I would connect with majority of the groups in SFU that are already there, that are already established. I am aware of the things that we need to do as a university to be where we need to be in order to build the university experience that we need. And I hope that I get your vote in order to make this a reality. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for their time and effort.
Thank you. Okay, so next up we have the position of VP Equity and Sustainability. So I will invite up to the front Diego Santana Morera. And Bismillah Sultani. And then we will have a pre-recorded video from Esther Niguin. So sorry. I'm going to try again. I will start with Diego's opening statement. You can start whenever you're ready, and I'll give you a gentle reminder when there's 10 seconds left.
Okay, so let's start this, everybody. So first of all, I would like to recognize he did an amazing job here, making again his statement about the about the indigenous commitment and about the campus. Sorry, guys. About the general. Yeah, thank you, sorry. He did an amazing job when he was talking about the indigenous situation. It's something that I would like to start because it's something that I still need to learn, and it's really important for this position. But everybody, I'm Iago, I'm your candidate for VP Equity and Sustainability, and I would like to start my story by telling you that I'm an international student, and most of my friends here, they would know me as the guy who talks to everybody. I know most of the people here, so it's a really good pleasure to see all of you. Unlike Renee, I don't fall from my skate. I'm also an international studies counselor, and I work 30 hours a week. So when I moved here, something that I've noticed is that most students are highly impacted by how much they need to work and how much they have to do here in university. And it's really hard to make that commitment to talk to everyone, to be present at events, and to feel represented when we're talking about classes and when we are talking about everything else that is the student experience. So I come from a marginalized community in Brazil. I have come from a really low-income situation of farming of gardeners, and that's why I have to sustain myself here. And because of that, I understand the situation that our students are. And thank you. And what I would like to say is that I have committed to this community. I can't say that I know personally everybody of you, but I would like to say that all of my plans that I'm going to present later through the QA, they represent my commitment to this community and how passionate I am. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Bismillah Sultani, and I'm a third-year computing science student, and running to be your next VP Equity and Sustainability at SFSS. During my time at SFU, I have been dedicated to supporting students and fostering a stronger community. For example, as a student ambassador for the Faculty of Applied Sciences, I'm helping new and prospective students in navigating their academic journey, and also I also serve as the chair of the Student Refugee Program at World University Service of Canada here at SFU, where we actually help them to transition smoothly into university life. And additionally, my friends and I actually recently we founded a student union where to create an inclusive space for all students with diverse backgrounds to connect, share experiences, and support one another. And with all these experiences, I'm running because I believe SFP should be a place where every student is included
supported, and empowered. And although the former respected wikis actually have done a lot of things for this, but again, still many students face challenges and like accessibility barriers, inadequate health support, and rising living costs, which demand real action. Thank you.
Then I'll have the pre-recorded video from Esther. There.
Hi, it's you, Mr. Lim, and I'm running to be the next mini equity and sustainability. As students, we check our commutes, part-time jobs, financial jobs, and disabled. But one thing is clear, SFSS needs leaderships that listens, learns, and direction. That's right, here to make sure student voices have real decisions. I've been actively working to regions and refugee and beyond. Student ambassador as fellow student center. I volunteer as SFU social violence support and prevention office, where I advocate for all supported communities. I'm also a community partner at Speech Mental Health. I live on mental health awareness. Through my work in Surrey Memorial Hospital, I've seen how systemic violence affects student well-being. I'm also a part of Queen Space Active Aggression Training for environmental advocacy. So what we are doing is showing me equity and sustainability. Here's what I tell for. Stronger student representation. Ensuring student voices and SFSS policies and funding decisions. Accessible and affordable support. Expand mental health resources and accessibility services. Advocate for climate justice, improve trade spaces. Equity beyond workforce. Turning SFSS commitment to anti-oppression and social justice for real actions. We deserve an SFU where students are not just surviving but thriving. Let's make sure that you work on students. Let's make it happen. Work together to a greater, fair student power and you.
What's left of the audience? Reaching the
As VP Equity, you'd be closely working with the role of VP University. I have one question. What does inclusion mean to you?
Okay, thank you for the question because I really didn't have enough time to talk about what I want to do. Thank you for the question. Well, actually, one of my plans is to include everyone, as I said earlier. SFU is a place where every student should feel included and supported, and also same thing with other groups. So for that, I want to talk and listen to every individual if possible, for example, and have listening sessions to listen to them and what they need. And then, for example, if their culture has not been represented in a good way, then I'll listen to them and include that in the programs that we have here at SFSS and many more things. Thank you.
Thank you also for the question. Sorry for getting too nervous on my presentation. I also didn't have the opportunity to present you with all of my ideas. When it comes to inclusion, what I would like to bring to everyone is one of the two words that represent the core values of my campaign: transparency and engagement. I think that's something that we lack a lot at SFSS right now, is understanding how we can bring more students to the table and actually talk about them. We're gonna hear all the things about how this is a community school and how it's so hard to bring people into the sub, but we should also be talking about how inclusion in SFSS actually happens. So we need to be thinking of how the clubs are actually having a seat on the table to talk to VP events. We should be talking to all the cultural clubs and all the cultural communities to understand how we can sit with them and understand what are the problems that they bring and what is their situation when they're immigrating here to Canada. And that's why I bring the plan for you when we're talking about the participatory budgeting that I would encourage you to ask more. Thank you so much, guys.
Before we go, I would just like to say that we're going to have the question line there. Go ahead, Assam.
Yeah, I have a question for both of you, and then it's not a very challenging question, it's easy. As you know, there is no specific process for evaluating the nominees, eligibility and qualification. Like everyone is able to to nominate for every position. How do you find yourself that you are going to be a fit one for this position, and what do you know and what you did for the where in this position?
Thank you for the question. I think that's something I would like to start is that when I was looking for the process of universities, I was already looking for governance and how I could fit into that. And that's because I really care about my community. SFU was my choice, not only because we were talking about mountain and because my degree in public policy, that is my passion, is really good, but also because I really cared about Canada and I understand how important is the advocacy history of SFU and SFSS. So this choice was made purposely. And I do have the skill that I believe that are necessary to perform the job. And that's one of the things that all candidates should consider for the roles they are choosing. I have before worked with parks maintenance. I have secured more than 250,000 for a Brazilian environmental reserve. I have also secured the protection of a river in my national city that was being polluted by a company. I have done tons of advocacy in my country before, and I'm ready to do it all for you again. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you for the question again. Well, I've been living on campus actually for 3 years, I think now. And during my time on campus, I have talked to a lot of people and engaged in many activities, listened to people. I know what they need. And yeah, I know what they need. So when you know what people need, I think you can do a better job because it's obvious that you have to do things that actually make them happy and included and supported, for example. So I have represented actually SFU's local community in 2 places, in Vancouver and also in Ottawa this year. And when I represented SFU actually in Ottawa, that year, our program was, just 1 minute, sorry, our program was actually recognized as the best local community of SFU in 2022. So that is a great achievement for me and also for my team.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so in the interest of time, we're gonna make the next few answers 2 to 3 sentences, please. Thank you.
Okay, dear candidates, my question is that since mental health is very important for students, and most of the time it's neglected. So my question is that how do you plan to enhance mental health support and resources for students on campus? How do you plan to enhance mental health support and resources for students on campus?
Okay, thank you for the question. I will actually push for more accessible counseling services and advocate for hiring more culturally competent therapists, for example, and make appointment booking systems easier. And so the students should not wait weeks when they need the help now. So yeah, we can do a lot and then listen to them. Yep, thank you.
I believe that healthcare, mental health care comes in multiple ways. And even though I would like to say that I will push for more appointments and for more inclusion inside of the current health plan that are offered by SFU and by the SFSS, I can't say that I can promise that will happen. But I think that there are multiple ways that the student community can feel more health supported. And that means that I will work closely with whoever gets elected for VP Academics to push for more events, such as, for example, promoted today by SOCA, which is the health mental support. Things like that really talk about community and how we can include our community and support them is by taking them into our hands and making the feeling of a community real, which is not something that exists today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I have a question.
I was in computer science department, and then I transferred to engineering, and I have witnessed a lot of barriers that women of color, marginalized community face when they enter this field. I'm not saying about like the outright misogyny, but the subtle racism, the subtle exclusion, and it just like makes things like even way harder, and also for like students with neurodivergent, I feel like they don't have like enough studying and peer support. So my question is like, how would you do about like, yeah, what is your plan? Do you have any idea to kind of like improve that? Maybe have like a mentor mentee system, or maybe like a workshop or something. Thank you.
So thank you for the question. As I said earlier, I didn't have time to talk about all of my plans, but that is actually a part of my plan here. Because I will actually support the push for better mental health support and improve campus accessibility too. So one of my plans is to advocate for more quiet and sensory-friendly spaces for students who have problems in this part. So going into the details on how we do that, I think it takes a lot of time, but we will definitely advocate for that, and we will work with our other executives to work on this. Yeah. All right. Thank you. That's all.
Oh, still 10 seconds, can I say something? So this is, so I think I'm talking specifically about the STEM, science, STEM field, and I'm not talking about like a general plan and stuff like that, but I'm talking specifically about STEM field and science. So like, do you have any plan in mind to like, yeah.
Sorry, I couldn't get it.
Yeah, do you have any plan in mind to like actually collaborate with the maybe CS department, engineering department to like have those resources?
So you mean if for example, the Faculty of Applied Science, if you have any plan to have more quiet areas there and sensory-friendly spaces?
Have more like inclusive space, yeah, to people color.
Okay, sure. And actually, I have just joined them as a student ambassador. I've not really been in those classes a lot, but I will definitely work with them and talk to my colleagues there about this issue that you have experienced, and also your friends.
Sorry,
this
I
not
have to cut you off here. I was just compared to Diego. Diego, you can give a response to that question. Keep it short, and I'll move on to the next question.
Sure, thank you. So my answer for you is short actually, because there is a lot to do, and we need someone that is ready to do advocacy. We need someone that is like that's elected for equity sustainability, that understands how to go against the stuff when it's needed, and also to hear all the students that are going through trouble, such as yours that you have decided. So if we work with constituent groups and we welcome all students to sit on councils, to sit on committees, and to bring up those experiences, we can actually have the opportunity to take those choices and advocate against whatever they're doing wrong.
Got it, thanks.
Very good question for Stella. Like, how do you make SFU more environmentally was sensitive? Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. That is also one of my plans to make SFU environmentally friendly. And one of my plans for that is to work on to improve recycling and composting education, and let the students know about them. And also, the one specific thing I want to do about that part is I want to actually introduce a sustainable exchange portal where students can donate or trade their used items, because at the end of every term, actually, I've noticed that students just put their used books, for example, at the corners of the campus, which is not really good. So that is one of my plans for that, and then I will definitely promote and advocate for green SFU.
Thank you. We'll go to closing remarks. I'll start with you, Bismillah. Oh, sorry, with you, Diego, and then we'll go to Bismillah after. You can start when you're ready.
So I think I'll take the opportunity of this closing statement to actually speak the words that I wanted in the beginning when I was too nervous. So first of all, I would like to say that I stand for four main values here when I'm running. I stand for legacy, community engagement, and transparency. And all of those words are really about my personality and they are reflected on my plans. So I would like to much encourage everyone to take a look at my platform and all the things that I'm promising, because I don't want to make empty promises. Those are real. And for the four ideas that I'm really proud of and I'm going to have the opportunity to speak about: participatory budgeting. Welcome all SFU students to take part on the deciding on how the budget is actually allocated at the beginning of the next year. Also, SFU, we need a thrifting app. I'm with you on this. You did an amazing job that's proposing too. We need a thrifting and we need to include that on SFU app. Something me and Pranay are doing together. Also wanted to talk about the clubs reform, something we are all talking about right now that is really important for all of us. Thank you. Good luck, guys.
Okay, thank you all for coming and waiting this long. I really didn't expect this to be that long because it was supposed to finish at 7:30, but I'm tired and feel sleepy, but I don't know about you. I believe in action, not just words, and I'm ready to be the strong voice that ensures equity and sustainability are at the heart of SFSS decisions. So look for me so that we can build a better SFU together. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, perfect. You guys can go back to your seats. I'm gonna do one more raffle. Presidency, one more raffle, you guys can go home.
Take a look at the job, guys, what we are actually supposed to do for each role.
Your closing statement was done already. Okay, you guys know what time it is. Drum roll. Okay, the next raffle winner is 836204. Yes, sir, come up. Woo! Okay, so you can pick between Tim Hortons or SFSS VIP.
Tim Hortons.
Damn, that's a SFSS VIP.
I prefer Landmark than New
Don't forget to stay till the end so you can sign it.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, so the last raffle prize is the SFSS VIP, but before then, I will welcome the candidates for presidency, Landy Lou. And Rita Davidson. So then you give your opening speech first. You can start whenever you're ready. I'll give you a gentle reminder there's 10 seconds left.
Sorry, give me 1 second. Hello everyone, my name is Landy, it's pronounced Ian. I also just want to recognize that I see on the ancestral prayers for Muslim scholarships that to people. If you take a look outside, you can see how amazing our campus is, and that's the land that these ambitious people have built on several hundreds of years before foreigners came in. And so I wish that we can take some time to recognize that these lands are unseen. For my opening speech, I would like to tell you a little story, because I know that human nature is guided by the story, much like how the ambitious people love to tell stories. I've learned a lot from different mentors, from different people that I've spoke to at school. From their stories, I grew as a person, and today I want to take time to tell you a little bit of my story. Since first year, I've been, even for my whole life actually, I've been a pretty good listener, to the point that my peers only tell me that it feels therapeutic when they speak to me. And that's a value that I hold very dearly to leadership, because how are you supposed to guide or represent a group of students if you don't even understand what their needs are? That is one thing that I'll keep in the center of my efforts. And from listening, I will move to experiences. From first year, I've been part of the Science and Graduate Society, I've been the president, I've been involved with the Residence Hall Student Association, that's work in residence. I've been part of Senate last year. That's let me do a lot to see how the school works. I've worked with the Faculty of Science among other faculties to see how that works. I work for students, for advocacy and event planning. But most of all, I would love to build a community. Now let's do my third. Also, first of all, you guys are still here at this hour, since 5 o'clock. Think about it, applause to all of you guys, because you've taken the time to come here. There's nothing you guys really coming for about these experiences we said. And building a community really does something for people like you. And so I want to take this chance to say that my guiding principles are building a community. And maybe it starts from meeting the person next to you and saying hi and getting to know the person. If you have any questions about my policies and campaigns, I would love for you to ask me questions.
Thank you. Let's have it on your.
Yes, I'm gonna stand up. It's been quite a long night. It's back early. Okay. Right down is it? It's okay. Hi guys, my name is Nathal Singh. I think I'm supposed to sell myself here, so I just want to say I talked to people around campus and they said funding, booking, and visibility was an issue with those on campus. And so I think I should mention during COVID, I met some international students who were having trouble with finances, and it was causing a lot of mental distress. I managed to raise over $190K dollars that I used over 2 years to fund up to 50 students a month with a budget of $70,000. So I think my first thing coming into office would be to get sponsorships. Second thing is president of SSC. It's a student confederation all across Canada with members from Quebec, Ontario, Alberta, Winnipeg. And we advocate for students. We also advocate for the right to practice your religion freely, especially in Quebec with Bill 21 and Bill 91. I'm a temporary visible Sikh, so there's prejudice against that. And the other thing is I'm president of Sears, which is a 3 years old nonprofit where we focus on education protection and promoting community wellness with elders and youth. I'm a community builder, you could say. I care about food security. I started a food business last year. I do dating deals. I'm not promoting my business here, guys, just saying. And I'm also involved with WSO, which is a advocacy and human rights organization. I'm just supposed to work for it. There's a bunch of voters there. And within SFSS, I've been involved with multiple clubs throughout campus. I've had executive experience.
To cut you off for fairness.
That's all right.
Thank you. Open the floor to questions for presidents. Rishu. Who's surprised? What?
We're gonna be here all night.
Time after Emmanuel. No one get up. Okay. Okay, please, in the best interest of time, keep your questions short and your answers shorter. Thank you. Go ahead.
Hi guys. My question would be about resident affordability and food insecurity on campus. I think that's pretty big issue for all of us. So I'm wondering if you guys have any plans for that or what would be your approach to do with that sort of problem.
Yeah, those are very important current issues that are currently facing SFSS undergraduate students. Let's address them one by one. With housing affordability,
I've been a community advisor to residents as well as being involved in the about 3 years now. I'm stoked to manage priming these connections in terms of probability those discussions that as the president have had with residents. I think this is also something that has been the I'm sure there's process that have been going on. These are things that I can take forward with my current connections with residents and knowing what it's like living in residence and seeing how we can address certain issues and back that's one of the things. And second of all, with food security, with the shutdown of the community of Bridge, I think it's on many students' mind as how we serve and how we feed other students at so many things. I think as this success, we play a role in leveraging our platform and leveraging that we have to provide for students this basic necessities. With the closing of these opportunities for volunteering with the campus community Bridge, I think it's something that this has to take up as their priority, and also allowing the space for the volunteers who are coming volunteering to extend the volunteering experience, bring them along that to you.
I won't give you control. I think those like one of the solutions that's feasible is getting strong organizations involved, making it a little bit more easier for them to come on campus with food rather than just having the dining commons and source. Right, but they have multiple organizations that can pitch in, so you have multiple options for competition. And it is possible, like in being in the food business, I tell you it's so easy to get affordable food. It just there have to be options that are able to bring in this.
Hello, I have a question that this is important. You mentioned three leadership, two most important leadership achievements you had during your volunteer for your career. That this will be your leadership skills in the that you have achieved through real experience.
I think for me personally, the biggest achievement I've listed earlier is getting almost $1 million in sponsorships in a matter of 2 weeks, which is something I'm still proud of. Another thing is I've managed to create an umbrella organization for multiple universities across Canada. I think that's another leadership role. And the other thing is I can work with people of multiple backgrounds regardless of the age of my nonprofits.
Yeah, for me, my background might not be as broad as the tabs, but I've taken the opportunities that were granted to me, such as with Science and Undergraduate Society, going from first year up to vice president to the president and hosting events all 3 years, learning from different mentors, including all the events that was from COVID. I think one key step that I learned from there is mentorship and connection. Another strong learning is advocacy. So with the Senate that I'm part of, we talk a lot about issues that are current and also about different class changes or different diversity issues. And with that, from my past advocacy experience, I've gone to Senate and voiced student concerns. And lastly, I've been involved, like I said, with the Residents Hall Association, and that is, I think, community with the different events that we put on. Shout out to Emmanuel and he's in the room, but he was one of the presidents. We had a really big focus on holidays and different traditions, and we put on all events based on that. I put on two, I would say, pretty fun Chinese or Lunar New Year events that's been happening, and I love how I'm able to engage with different students who are residents and with who comes to visit us.
Sorry, just give me a second. Can everyone please keep side talks outside of the place so it doesn't echo, just so you can hear the presidents? And any recycling we'll do later. Thank you. Go ahead.
Both of you talked a lot about the external part of the role. What about the internal part? What makes you think you would be a good staff liaison officer? And secondly, how will you manage a team that has different types of working, like different styles of work because you will be the ultimate leader.
Yeah, with my previous roles within the SFSS and also with the constituency groups, I had a lot of opportunities to engage with past staff and current staff. I am familiar with many people who are on the building team who are at the front desk, and I know that there's been 3 new hirings in the internal SFSS staff system. Working with them is a big part of what the presidents should do, and that's one of my priorities. Ensuring that they get a fair share, do the work that they sign up to do, and to have a relationship to students and student leaders and staff themselves. Appreciate, what was the second part of your question? Both are just yellow.
How will you manage a team that's gonna work differently? How gonna have like different styles of work?
Yeah, I really appreciate the role of diversity that we have at this university. And of course, student leadership has their own diversity as well. And I think that's what's so special about working with a group of people, because they have their own special perks and their own gifts and their own experiences into the role. I want to be inclusive and I want to build on that. And lastly, to touch a little bit more about diversity, internally, I want to showcase the different student organizations that we have. That's one of the key things that we're doing.
I run a business, I have like 4 corporate employees, they're all different. And I think you can manage around them. Like this one guy gets on my nerves all the time, but I just smile at him. But it's I think I need a big team. And if you can work with people who are diverse, I think that makes you a successful leader. I think I have that ability.
Thank you.
So I have a question for Natalie. There's been rumors going around that they have now been actively participating in the SFSS council meetings. As a candidate for the most important role in the SFSS council, how do you plan on addressing these rumors and what are you going to do to change that?
Yeah, I think those are really realistic rumors. When I signed up to do this role, I come from a place of wanting to advocate for students, especially representing them like I have been with my past experience. Unfortunately, for most of these days, especially in the summer, I was taking on a research project that required full time. And again, like with research, it's really hard to take time off or to be there at SFSS meetings. Yes, there's a room that goes on that. Maybe I didn't know and everything, but I just want to show up wherever I can. With the past semester, I work literally on the day that we have SFSS meetings. I work at the local pharmacy here, and in terms of shift jobs, it's not as flexible because it's also small business.
Thank you.
I had a similar question, so given your attending the council, I would argue that being president is 4 to 5 times that time commitment. It is a full-time job itself, along with being a student. So I want to present to both of you though, how would you guys manage your time being a student and seeing that you had these patterns in the past, how do you want to change that or actually challenge that?
I feel like I should pursue this. Yeah, very direct question. Thank you. So basically, I have my degree. I finished all my independent credits, and that's what I was trying to do. And so with this role, if I'm the president, I basically have as much time as I want. Maybe I'll take 1 course instead of requirements, but the extra time that I have, and you can see from my results in the past as well, with the scientific measures, scientific organization required. I've never been afraid to take more work, to do work, and with more time, not having to be a full-time student or having the pressure of being a student, I can benefit from this.
Thank you.
For me, I have these things called planners. Like I plan my day out, and it's great. Like it's made my life so much easier. I know what assignments I need to do, where my classes are, what things I have lined up. I actually have 2 planners, one for my business, one for personal stuff. If I come to office, I'll have a 3rd planner. It's great.
Thank you. Sam.
Okay, so my question in 2 parts. The first, very quickly, for each of you guys to give 3 referendums. Yes, no, are you endorsing them on all 3 of them? And then I'll ask my second part after.
Yes. For me, I think, let's talk about each one of them. I think the first part, if students don't vote yes on this referendum, they're losing on student services support. Second part, it's such a big deal for students, even with the $100 increase, you're getting coverage up to like $105,000.
Yes or no?
I would say yes, but I want to encourage students to learn more.
Okay. Second question.
Then the second part is, another scenario, health and mental, both questions fail. What is your philosophy to where it's heading?
I think sponsorships would help a lot. That's something I would go for first thing. And I think eventually, I think the premise is really well formed. So something similar following the same streamline. Figure out a solution for it. I really hope it passes though.
Of course, I don't, I think it's more question around the ethos of when you're making a really hard decision, make more sense. You have no good options, how do you minimize?
Just to add on, it's just like for referendum, it's like 2 coffee cups a month. It's not that big of a deal. Like the dental plan, it's what 19 something a month increase, but then over the year it's let's say that's like 2 Starbucks or something.
Boycott Starbucks then.
Oh, sorry, yes.
Yeah, I would make a counter argument here because I think that $100 increase is actually really a lot of money for students. For me to answer the question, Sam, if those 2 referendum questions do fail, I think that really demonstrates how maybe the university is valued. Maybe it's not a value for student. Whether we have to reconsider the value that we offer them in terms of this plan, or to abolish the plan, or to reconsider what services that or resources we offer them in terms of health and dental, mental health, pharmaceuticals. I think that's the conversation we're going to have with the students. What's this proposed best demonstrate to us that we know the students?
Thank you.
This is a question for you. We talked a lot about community. Did you give us a brief walkthrough of the logistics of what you plan to do to build a community here?
Yeah, thank you so much. One of the 3 things that I've been campaigning about is trying to reopen the study. I've worked really hard with different advisors, even in faculty science, coming in touch with SFU vibrancy. There's student groups that have ping pong tables and different arcade machines all around campus. With that, I had a chance to meet with SFU Food and also SFU Max, which is events, meetings, conferences, and services. With that, we developed a whole plan to reopen the study in smaller portions, in forms of maybe every other Friday, and we'll do a ticketed event to ensure that all parties are financially satisfied, but also bring this opportunity that students much are much.
Thank you.
This is a question for both candidates. Considering the responsibility and the power that this position holds, and also what's been going on, for example, with the AMS at BC, how do you plan to hold yourselves accountable if you are the leaders?
Sorry, could you explain the situation on BC a little bit?
Yeah, so at the AMS, they're like the student body that kind of the SFSS at BC, and not just the president, but a lot of the executives have resigned due to toxic culture and inactive issues.
I come from the same faith, and we've been brought up with humility, and it's when you are given a position of power, you're not there because you have that power. It's to serve the people, and I come with that mindset. It's the concept of seva, which is selfless service. You might see seva concept. I think the SSAs they do a limited day here. It's basically free food. They're gonna do one I think coming soon in the next month or so. But I think the idea behind seva, even it's that there's nothing to gain from it, and I'm genuinely passionate about student advocacy. But you guys can all come up to me, ask me anytime. You can question me anytime. I'm open to that. I'm not with you directly.
Yeah, I would like to put that idea of serving other people in your position of power. If you talk to any of the people I've worked with in the past, especially as the Center for Graduate Society president, you know that I gave a lot of leeway and a lot of power to the people that I work with, especially my meetings. I believe in empowering and leading by example. Surrounding the AMS issue, with some of my friends from BC, I know it's a big scandal, but I believe that I have the skills and abilities to make these connections with the new team, no matter how diverse it is, see what their goals are, see where we align, and see what we can take businesses across the society.
Thank you.
My question is to both candidates. So from what I've heard, the fall income from the disaster, how do you avoid this?
You know what? That's a very, very good question. See, I think it was just poor decisions at the time. I'm not too familiar with it because I was in office last year, but from what I've heard, it's lack of experience. And I think with my experience, I should be able to navigate around it. But everybody is prone to making mistakes. We'll probably end up making mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes, but I think at the end of the day, it's not the scale of the event that matters, because the idea behind it was very good. But I think smaller events with less budgets might be able to make a bigger impact.
Yeah, I recognize that's the deficit over in terms of ball kickoff. I think it was a great idea, but in terms of execution, maybe somewhere along the line, somewhere along the way, we might have lost track of our financial statements or our standing. I've spoken to other people at different universities about similar concerts that they host. I think maybe there's a bit of strategizing and prioritization of the artists that we bring in, maybe vendors, maybe looking for sponsorships, different things that we can make this event more sustainable.
I kind of have 3 questions. So I think this one is for you, so simple yes or no question.
You're gonna ask one question, you're gonna go back. If you ask, then you're gonna come back.
Okay. Are you supporting the referendum? Yes or no?
They asked that.
Already asked.
Yes and yes.
Yes. Okay. Because right now you just mentioned that you don't agree with the $100 increase in the healthcare plans. Yeah.
So I didn't. So let me clarify this.
Yeah.
I think the $100 is really expensive, but even with the $100 increase, you compare to other universities, these information is online, you find it is compared to other universities, it's also like pretty on par with what they provide. So in terms of
Okay, I'll just go to the next question. The next question was about your Senate position. Are you hoping to continue that? And I haven't heard much about your role in Senate. Can you tell me what you did? Because it's just like a lack of information. I just wanted to hear.
Yeah, no problem. I think students in general probably don't really know much about Senate does. I was elected as a science representative, and I've been serving Senate since for like almost 3 semesters now. I'm part of the committees such as diversity priorities and potential studies. That's in terms of like class, new class developments, class changes, development program changes.
Okay, just the last question. This one is for Meta. What kind of events are we looking at if you get elected? And this one is for 10 years. What kind of events are we looking at if you get elected?
That's a question for the next years. But I think anything that brings the community together and gives us a spirit. I mean, I'm very passionate about school spirit. I think a recruit mascot would fix that. That's just me. But the rest is up to you guys, I guess. Pick your events for your property.
Also, can I just whoever asked this question, can you just ask mine to answer because the previous question was pretty long, just in all fairness. I want to ask you, Mandy, you've been president of the Science Undergraduate Society and you've led on a host of events for more than 3,000 students. I was wondering that, obviously those events hosted by you in association with organizations like SFSS, which is a very cross-functional organization, allow a lot of community involvement across multiple different faculties. I was wondering how you were going to involve the community to save the community fridge that you spoke about earlier, and in case that open up opportunities for any volunteering activity.
Yeah, really big issue when it comes to food insecurity. As you know, it's actually really hard to find food under $10 on campus. If you're just looking for a sandwich, you find out even it's expensive. With the lack of the community fridge, I think it's a responsibility that the SFSS can to take it on because we can leverage our funding and leverage our platform to negotiate with maybe different food vendors and things like that. So we can also work with the Burnaby Food Bank, local food banks to figure out this issue for students because it's an important one. again, with these needs to sort of admin work and physical work that can open up to volunteers and other students seeking that.
Okay, thank you.
Hello guys, so I was there earlier and I did not waste enough time to cover policies. So I was just gonna ask a question so you guys can cover. Just cover your main policies, guys. Yeah. Thanks.
Okay, the policy is students should be keeping it with time. Yeah. They students should have the right to have a say what's going on, and it should be transparent. Policy wise, I'm passionate about food security, and I'm also passionate about student housing. And you can read my entire thing on my campaign. But I think it's involving external organizations.
Yeah, I think community and transparency are two of my goals as well as president. The three things that I went to advertising are to first try to bring back the same with the research I've been doing with people from us. I think it's a goal that we can achieve. Depending on what the student turnout is, that might happen and that may not happen. That is all up to you, and I want to put in the work so that you can make that decision one day to choose if you want to do that or not. The other things are focused on building school spirits. So the first thing that that I've been wanting to do is to build some sort of membership. Many universities across different student clubs have this membership. It's a small fee, but you get discounts and deals from different food vendors or different services, such as 10% off, 5% off. With this, extra source of income can help lead to more events at SFU, and it can help lead towards philanthropical initiatives, such as, for example, providing more funding for a community center here. And the last thing for me is to build some sort of student merch where we can have SFU inspired artists or creators design this merch to better build our school community.
Now we have the current president.
Thank you guys for all your responses. My last question is actually about the personal question about self-care. In your position, you're gonna have to do a lot. And when I say a lot, I mean things that you probably don't do a lot here. And my question is, how do you plan to manage all of the responsibilities alongside your personal projects? And I know you're not taking classes, but you are alongside classes. How do you plan to manage all of those three things all at the same time while ensuring that you don't go?
That's actually a very valid question. For me, I have a routine set where every morning I start my day up with a little bit of meditation, a little bit of praying. That goes a long way. And then every evening I wind down. And on the weekends, when I have a little extra time, every Saturday evening or Sunday morning, I do take time. I go to the Gurdwara Sunday morning, Saturday evenings, I go hang out with my friends. I also have multiple friend groups that I don't really interact with almost all the time, but it's like I get into sports with a volleyball friends, or I'm doing like music friends that we're playing music instruments, we're singing together. And then I also have friends on campus who works out. But I think self-care is really important. I need to take breaks. I also have a screen time on the phone.
Yeah, as a student who's been doing collaborative students, I understand her position. Tasks very important. For me, mental health and avoiding burnout is something that I'm trying to work on, and also taking steps to do that. This reading break, I did almost no reading and trying to make sure that I can relax before the election kicks in, school kicks in, and interest. I understand the point of even seeing things that might not even exist and that being part of the problem. And I think part of that for me is having preparation, talking to people like you, talking to people who's been part of this stuff, such as Mary, had a conversation, right? And learning the different dynamics that's here. For me, even seeing everyone that's still here really inspires me to work harder to bring this community forward, such as being one of my heroes and seeing very inspiring individuals as different student leaderships is what keeps me there. And of course, having personal skills, methods, having a routine.
I just need the last 10 seconds. Yeah, I just want to add, if you're not in a good mental space, you won't be able to get back to the community. So I think that's a really good question. Thank you.
Okay, I have one more question from the Zoom online, then we're gonna do closing statements, then we're gonna do the raffles, then I'll send you home. Lenny, as an RA, you are responsible for building a supportive community, but many residents on your floor, including me, felt neglected under your leadership. How do you expect students to trust you with an even bigger leadership role when you didn't fulfill your duties in a small one?
Thank you so much. First of all, my role is not important to see it. Second of all, I don't overlook a floor at all. I overlook a townhouse. So I again want to just ask the validity of this question. If you check my emails, and you check the things that I do, I add creativity to the next guideline. I send out emails very frequently to different things that I do. So please, like, ask maybe a better questions. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll start with the closing statement, Mandy, and then we'll go to you, Mitab.
Yeah, so thank you so much all for being here and listening to me. Building community is a big part of what I want to do if elected president. And with that, I want to build real connections by understanding and listening to all of you and forming this community that we can all be proud of and feel like we're in a place that's, whether you're not from your place where you come home, but also calmness, your place that you can really feel like you're included. And for me, part of that, you can't even look at my transcript to the different things that I do, but I bring a level of experience, I bring a level of expertise, and I want to share it as SFSS president. So here's the catchphrase I was thinking about while sitting down for a few hours here. Build a community, join landing to build a community, because I can keep in a real sense of agree.
Thank you.
I don't have a catchphrase. I would probably use ChatGPT, but I think I'm gonna start. So I think the executive team last year did an amazing job. I'm passionate about student advocacy, and I also want to put a mascot. But at the end of the day, I just want something that's best for SFSS, and I hope either one of us, whoever wins, is passionate enough to continue on the work and do good.
If you like being stared at, you can stay there. Drum roll, please. Thank you. The last bit, the winner is 836-179. 836, we have a winner? Perfect. And all the previous winners, can you come also? And quickly, just before everyone goes, I want to thank you guys all for being here, showing out, and bearing with me through with these time management issues. I really appreciate it. It was hard for me to cut you off, but I had to do what I had to do. We hope you guys gained valuable insights, and we have been informed of the decision on who you would vote for. Voting is on the 27th and 28th, so please check your boxes. And if like candidates, thank you for listening.